Chapter 642. Senior Brother Zhang. This small valley provides a place for disciples to refine artifacts. Below the refinement valley is the earth-fire vein that was transferred here by several elders. A wretched, middle-aged man stepped on a leaf-shaped flying artifact and floated in the air, eloquently explaining to a burly man next to him who was controlling a spirit shuttle. Below them was a small valley with a radius of a few miles that exuded a hot aura. The burly man with a ferocious face was naturally Lu Kuan, who had just entered the blood-refining sect under the alias of Zhang Yang. The middle-aged man, Yuan Dezhu, was a low-level disciple who guarded the entrance hall. His name sounded rough, but his thin body, thin eyebrows, and small eyes did not match his name at all. Yuan Dezhu's aptitude was not high, so he relied on his family to enter the blood-refining sect and cultivate in a place rich in spirit qi. Although the blood-refining sect forbade disciples from killing each other, as long as no one died, it was not a violation of the sect's oath. In order to compete for some missions with contribution points and other resources, the internal competition in the blood-refining sect was very fierce. This was especially obvious between qi refining and foundation establishment cultivators, who often fought for some benefits. Yuan Dezhu was a slick person, and he went around currying favor with fellow disciples with strong cultivation. Although he did not obtain any substantial benefits, at least he was familiar with others, so not many people came to find trouble with him. Currying favor with fellow disciples with high cultivation, coupled with the fact that Yuan Dezhu only took on simple missions within the sect, he was able to cultivate to the 10th layer of qi refining without much difficulty. His situation was very rare in the blood-refining sect. If it was an ordinary qi refining cultivator, it would be impossible for them to cultivate in the sect for more than 20 years. They would either advance to the foundation establishment stage, or their resources would be stolen by other disciples. These people would often have to return to their original families due to lack of resources and honestly reproduce, striving to create offspring with strong spirit roots. Compared to these people, Yuan Dezhu was much luckier. At least he was still in the blood-refining sect. Relying on the abundant spirit qi here, it was not impossible for him to cultivate to the great circle of qi refining in his lifetime. Yuan Dezhu had curried favor with many disciples, and now he had set his sights on Zhang Yang, a rogue cultivator who had just entered the sect. In his opinion, this Zhang Yang who stood out among 100 rogue cultivators would definitely have explosive fighting strength. He was a thick thigh that he must hold on to. However, he still wanted to be cautious and try to see if this thigh was strong enough. As Yuan Dezhu continued to speak, his small eyes rolled around. Senior Brother Zhang, that's the elixir room. As long as you have enough contribution points, you can even exchange 10 foundation establishment pills. When Lu Kuan heard this, he revealed an anxious expression and said, "Brat, how do I exchange for the foundation establishment pill?" Yuan Dezhu knew that she would ask this question, so he immediately said, "The foundation establishment pill is extremely valuable. It costs 50 contribution points to exchange for one." Lu Kuan was puzzled. What? Is there someone robbing spirit stones in the sect? Yuan Dezhu's face showed fear. Senior Brother Zhang, the huge building at the top of the mountain is our sect's mission hall. We shouldn't go there. There's a group of people guarding the entrance all year round. If a qi refining disciple wants to enter, they can hand over a few spirit stones. But if you're a new disciple, you must hand over all your spirit stones or your limbs will be broken. Zhang Yang was puzzled. Are these people foundation establishment cultivators? Yuan Dezhu shook his head. How could a foundation establishment senior have the leisure to do such a thing? These people are all at the 12th layer of qi refining. Moreover, they are all disciples of the top 3 families. Even a great circle of qi refining disciple has to take care of the 3 families behind them. Lu Kuan's eyes flashed. Does the sect not care if they take money openly? Yuan Dezhu replied, "The weak are prey to the strong in the blood-refining sect. As long as you don't violate the sect's oath, it's fine. No one said that you can't rob. When Lu Kuan heard this, the muscles on his face trembled. His face was full of excitement. Haha, we really didn't come to the wrong blood-refining sect. Let's go to the mission hall. After he finished speaking, he took the lead and flew towards the mountain peak in front of them. You took the initiative. I didn't instigate you. Yuan Daju muttered in his heart. He also urged the leaf-shaped magic tool under his feet to increase the distance between them. He followed Lu Kuan from a distance. The mission hall occupied half of the mountain peak. The main entrance was more than 10 feet wide. 2 lions made of black jade stood in front of the entrance, flashing with an inexplicable restrictive aura. Under the stairs in front of the main entrance stood 3 blood-refining sect disciples. One of them was a man and a woman, each holding a jade slip, engrossed in it. The other man with a dark face was smiling as he looked at the people coming and going. He only stared at the chi-refining disciples. Every low-level disciple who wanted to enter the mission hall would obediently throw 1 or 2 spirit stones to him before entering the mission hall. The dark-faced man weighed the storage pouch in his hand and was very satisfied. It had only been 10 days since the beginning of this month, but he had already accumulated more than 1,000 spirit stones. Perhaps he could get 5,000 spirit stones this month. For a large sect like the blood-refining sect, the number of chi-refining disciples was beyond imagination. There were at least several thousand of them. These low-level disciples needed sect contribution points in order to obtain medicinal pills, cultivation methods, and resources from the sect. Every day, at least 100 low-level disciples came to the mission hall. The dark-faced man glanced at the 2 people next to him and felt a little unhappy. The clan is really something. They actually sent 3 people here who would offend our Ma clan for 1 or 2 spirit stones. It was not surprising that he thought so. The job of extorting spirit stones at the entrance of the mission hall had long been taken over by the 3 largest clans. As long as 2 or 3 chi-refining 12th-layer cultivators came from each clan in 4 months, they would be able to earn nearly 20,000 spirit stones in 4 months. Who would want such a good deal? As long as they were not from the 3 great clans, they would have to obediently hand over spirit stones after entering the mission hall. Just as the dark-faced man was letting his imagination run wild, a fierce-looking man suddenly came from not far away. His body flashed with the aura of a great circle chi-refining cultivator. Huh, I've never seen this disciple before. Is he new? After a cultivator developed a divine sense, they would be able to remember everything they saw. Although the dark-faced man could not recognize every chi-refining cultivator, he was at least somewhat familiar with them. It's still not the time for new disciples to enter the sect. Could he be a rogue cultivator from the Blood Mist Valley? Not only the dark-faced man, but the 2 people next to him also discovered this unfamiliar man. Their eyes bloomed with excitement. One had to know that the rogue cultivators of the Blood Mist Valley had picked up so many storage pouches in the valley. Each and every one of them was overflowing with wealth. The amount of spirit stones extorted from these rogue cultivators was probably equal to their monthly income. As for the combat strength of rogue cultivators, although these people were somewhat afraid, they did not take it to heart. After all, they had prepared special primary top-grade talismans. The rogue cultivators who had entered the sect before had been suppressed by their talismans. They had been subdued. Soon, the fierce-looking rogue cultivator directly arrived in front of them. He crossed his arms over his chest and lazily said, "The 3 of you, hand over all your spirit stones. Don't force my hand." Chapter 643. Brat, you're very arrogant. The dark-faced man's face was filled with anger. At the same time, he and the other 2 surrounded Lu Kuan. A magic barrier appeared around them, and a talisman appeared in each of their hands. Although Lu Kuan's words angered them, the 3 of them felt their hearts tremble. If they guessed correctly, the person in front of them was a rogue cultivator who had entered the Blood Mist Valley. To be able to stand out from 100 rogue cultivators, how could he be a brainless person? If he dared to say such a thing, then he must have a strong backing. When the disciples near the mission hall saw this scene, they all looked over. Some of them were even very excited. After the disciples of the three great clans occupied this place, no chi condensation cultivators had any conflicts with them. Now, someone actually dared to extort spirit stones from them. This was a rare occurrence. As for the Foundation establishment cultivators passing by, they didn't pay any attention to them. A battle between mere chi condensation cultivators wasn't worthy of their attention. Lu Kuan looked at the three people approaching him, but he didn't seem to notice the talismans in their hands. Instead, he revealed a greedy expression and looked at the bulging storage pouches on their waists. He arrogantly said, "Didn't you hear what I said? Hurry up and hand over the spirit stones." Just as he said this, the dark-faced man and the other two activated the talismans in their hands. They turned into 3 streaks of magic light and shot towards Lu Kuan. At such a close distance, Lu Kuan's arrogant expression hadn't yet faded when he was hit by the 3 spells. The dirt on the ground first turned into a large stone hand and grabbed Lu Kuan's calf. Then, a large vine appeared and bound his body. The last streak of light bombarded Lu Kuan's body and froze him into a human-shaped block of ice. The black-faced man saw that Lu Kuan was unable to resist and was controlled by the spells. He laughed out loud and said, "Even if you're at the peak of the chi refining stage, you won't be able to resist 3 primary top-grade control spells. I want to see what kind of disciple you are to dare be so arrogant." After he finished speaking, a blue glove appeared on the dark-faced man's right hand. The glove flashed with the aura of the ice attribute. It was a unique ice magic tool. With the help of this glove, the dark-faced man's hand reached into the ice block outside Lu Kuan's body without any hindrance and grabbed a black token at his waist. Zhang Yang? The token seems to have just been refined. Looks like he really is a new Lu's cultivator. Yuan Zhu, who was not far away, was disappointed when he saw this. And here I was wondering how strong this Lu's cultivator was. To think that he would be subdued so quickly. In the past, the Lu's cultivators from Bloodmist Valley would be able to resist a few moves. At the very least, they would be able to summon their artifacts. I didn't expect Zhang Yang. That's... Yuan Daju's pupils suddenly dilated. Suddenly, something strange happened. Just as the dark-faced man was reaching toward Lu Kuan's bag of holding, a violet glow suddenly appeared in Lu Kuan's hand. This violet glow was extremely agile. It directly passed through the ice block outside his body and hit the dark-faced man's blue glove. After the dark-faced man took out the glove, he withdrew his magic power shield. The violet glow fell on his body without any hindrance. Crackle. As if struck by lightning, the dark-faced man's hair all stood up. His exposed skin became incomparably charred. His whole body convulsed and fell down. Mai, the other two saw this change, and their expressions changed. At this time, the violet glow in the ice block gradually brightened. The 3 control spells shattered at the same time, revealing Lu Kuan's majestic figure. At this moment, he was enveloped by a light violet shield. There were traces of lightning shuttling back and forth in the shield. He said with a ferocious expression, "You really don't know what's good for you." As he spoke, his hands quickly formed a mysterious seal. Then, a bolt of lightning loomed in the palm of his hand. "This is impossible, lightning palm." The other 2 Ma family disciples originally planned to counterattack, but after seeing this trace of lightning, they couldn't help but cry out in horror. The Foundation establishment stage cultivators in the air felt the presence of the lightning attribute spell and stopped one by one. Lightning palm. It can't be. A mere chi refinement stage cultivator can use lightning palm. It really is lightning palm. Looks like this kid is Rellingan's innate talent. The Foundation establishment stage cultivators were quite knowledgeable. When they saw Lu Kuan use lightning palm, they guessed that he was Rellingan. Only those with the corresponding spiritual roots would be able to release such a strange spell when their cultivation level is low. It's not just lightning palm. His magic power shield is also a bit strange. It seems to be able to use lightning to counterattack. It's somewhat similar to the lightning shield spell. As a strange spell, lightning palm was extremely fast. When it appeared in Lu Kuan's hand, It flashed and hit the shields of the remaining 2 Ma family disciples. The power of the lightning attribute spell easily destroyed their magic power shields. Then, like the dark-faced man before, the 2 of them twitched and fell down. Lu Kuan laughed wildly like a fierce tiger. His eyes flashed with greed as he pounced on the 3 people. His divine sense swept through their storage pouches. First, he picked up the one on the dark-faced man's waist. Then, with a flash of light in his hand, spirit stones flew out from the other 3 storage pouches and into his own. As for the other things in the storage pouches, Lu Kuan didn't touch them. The surrounding blood-refining sect disciples looked at Lu Kuan's blatant robbery with strange expressions. Some took pleasure in his misfortune, while others looked on coldly. However, they all had a common point of view. They all felt that this new disciple was going to be in trouble. TSK, this guy is really fierce. He's robbing the Ma family's spirit stones at the entrance of the mission hall. Although disciples of the same sect can't kill each other, the Ma family can just send a Foundation Establishment Cultivator and beat this kid into a cripple. That's not necessarily true. With a lightning attribute spirit root, maybe there's an elder in the sect. Strange, there aren't any Ma family disciples nearby. Lu Kuan patted the bulging storage pouch on his waist with satisfaction and strode into the mission hall. Although the 3 people were struck by the lightning from his palm, the power was still within his control. At most, they would be paralyzed for a period of time, but their lives wouldn't be in danger. The onlooking low-level disciples of the blood-refining sect subconsciously made way for Lu Kuan. In their eyes, Lu Kuan was someone who could easily take care of 3 12th-level chi-refining cultivators. Lu Kuan felt that the nearby blood-refining sect disciples were pointing at him and was quite satisfied. Since I've passed the inspection of the core formation cultivators and successfully entered the blood-refining sect, I have to be extremely high-profile. The more high-profile I am, the less likely the higher-ups of the blood-refining sect will suspect me. Other people who sneak into the blood-refining sect will keep a low profile for fear of being discovered. As for offending the 3 great families, Lu Kuan naturally had a plan. Just as he was thinking about it, a shout came from behind him. "Senior Marshal Brother Zhang, wait for me." Yuan Du jogged all the way to Lu Kuan's side and said with a flattering expression, "I didn't expect Senior Marshal Brother Zhang's strength to be so terrifying. This little brother's respect for Senior Marshal Brother is like an endless, torrential river." Like, Lu Kuan's eyes twitched. He was very clear about Yuan Daju's actions, but on the surface, he casually patted Yuan Daju's shoulder and said, "Don't gather? Huang Huang Xiao Zhu Zhu Zhu. Xiaoyang by Ji Zhu 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 Chun Chun Yi Ge Zhu 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 Yin Sword. Li Ge. Ego. Okay. Chapter 644. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Lu Kuan left the mission hall under everyone's gaze. As for Yuan Dazhu, he was immediately surrounded by a lot of Qi condensation disciples. These people all asked him about Zhang Yiyang's situation. Yuan Dazhu was extremely proud of himself and told them about Zhang Yiyang's background with exaggerated details. However, when others asked about his relationship with Zhang Yiyang, he remained silent. Although he wanted to hug Lu Kuan's thigh, he couldn't afford to offend the Ma clan. However, the low-level disciples of the blood-refining sect knew about Yuan Daju's temperament. They understood that the relationship between the 2 was very ordinary and that Yuan Daju wanted to borrow Zhang Yiyang's name to protect himself. These Qi condensation disciples found out that Zhang Yiyang was a rogue cultivator who stood out from the Blood Mist Valley and had just entered the sect. What surprised them was that Zhang Yiyang was the only one who survived. Coupled with the lightning palm technique that he had just displayed, they couldn't help but put him in the category of people who couldn't be provoked. The nearby Foundation Establishment stage disciples also listened to Zhang Yiyang's message without revealing their expressions. In the past, rogue cultivators who entered the sect through the Blood Mist Valley would try their best to exchange for Foundation Establishment pills and enter the Foundation Establishment stage as soon as possible. After all, most of the rogue cultivators who passed through the Blood Mist Valley were at the great circle of qi condensation and only lacked foundation establishment pills. However, the quality of the foundation establishment pills of the blood refining sect were far better than those of other sects and would increase the chances of advancement. These people were right. Lu Kuan had just exchanged 20,000 spirit stones for 200 contribution points in one go in the mission hall, which is the upper limit for spirit stones. The total number of spirit stones in the hands of the 3 Ma clan members was close to 10,000. In addition to the spirit stones he had left in the Blood Mist Valley, it wouldn't be strange for him to exchange 20,000 spirit stones in one go. After leaving the mission hall, Lu Kuan left Yuan Dezhu and went straight to the blood refining sect's pill room. He exchanged 50 contribution points for a foundation establishment pill and then flew towards the outskirts of the mountain range. During the flight, Lu Kuan vaguely felt that someone was following him, but he didn't care. He had just entered the sect and had performed so well. It was strange that no one was following him. Now, he only needed to pretend to be in seclusion for a period of time. When he came out, he could reveal his early foundation establishment cultivation base. At that time, he could openly investigate how to obtain the demonic blood technique. With that in mind, Lu Kuan flew out of the core area of the blood refining sect and headed toward his immortal's cave according to the instructions in the token. As long as a qi condensation disciple of the blood refining school successfully entered the school and obtained a token, they would have a cave residence in the Blood Devil Mountain range to cultivate. Previously, when Fangzheng led Lu Kuan in, they had passed through a mountain range overseen by a core formation cultivator. Those were the cave abodes of the low-level blood refining sect disciples were located. The token in Lu Kuan's hand corresponded to the southern district of the Blood Demon Mountain range. The southern district of mountain range was divided into upper, middle, and lower layers. The upper layer only had one cave abode, which was where the core formation cultivator was stationed. The spiritual qi there was the densest. The middle layer was for foundation establishment disciples, and the lowest layer was for qi condensation disciples. A qi condensation disciple's cave abode was similar to an inn in the mortal world. It was only the size of a room, but since it was located in the Blood Demon Mountain range, the spiritual qi there was abundant. These cave abodes weren't free. They also required contribution points. Although it wasn't much, it put an end to the phenomenon of low-level disciples immersing themselves in bitter cultivation. If one wanted to cultivate in the Blood Demon Mountain range, which was rich in spiritual qi, they had to complete the sect's missions and obtain contribution points. After an hour, Lu Kuan finally arrived at the southern district of the mountain range with the speed of a qi condensation cultivator. He activated the restriction on the token and smoothly entered the mountain range's array formation. After paying some extra spirit stones, he chose a small cave abode with decent spiritual qi. Seeing Lu Kuan enter the southern district of the mountain range, a foundation establishment disciple of the Blood Demon sect muttered a few words and rode his flying magic tool back the way he came. In a secret room deep in the blood refining sect's entrance hall, Rong Shizu sat cross-legged in the center. 2 foundation establishment disciples stood in front of him and reported, "Master, we've checked. Ma Fei is a branch disciple of the Ma family. He entered the foundation establishment stage about 2 years ago. Disciple checked his contribution points record and found that he only exchanged for the first layer of the Thousand-Edge Demon Art." Rong Shizu frowned and said, "The Thousand-Edge Demon Art is extremely ordinary. Rogue cultivators can buy it in the market by spending spirit stones. It's impossible for Ma Fei to take the risk of revealing an ordinary cultivation technique." Then he coldly said, "Continue to investigate. Since it's not a cultivation technique, it must be some secret of the sect. Start from Ma Fei's whereabouts after he entered the sect, including what missions he took and who he was close to. Investigate everything for me. As for the Ma family, let your eldest senior brother go and find out about Ma Fei's situation in the family." The 2 foundation establishment stage disciples immediately agreed. "Okay, go out. Your 4th junior brother is outside. Let him in." "Yes, master." Soon the foundation establishment disciple who followed Lu Kuan came in. He carefully described what happened after Lu Kuan went out. Rong Shizu's eyebrows slightly raised and asked, "What do you think of this kid's strength?" The Foundation Establishment disciple looked serious and said, "Master, this Zhang Yiyang's talent in thunder attribute magic is extremely high. The two magic spells he released were at the peak of the elementary level. One is the Thunder Shield, which is similar to an intermediate level magic spell. The other is the Thunder Palm. You must know that the other Rellingan disciples can't use the Thunder Palm when they're at the peak of the Qi refining stage." Rong Shizu nodded and said, "That's right. It seems that in addition to having mutated spiritual roots, this kid's comprehension is also very high. Presumably, after entering the Foundation Establishment stage, his strength will be even stronger." After thinking for a while, Rong Shizu ordered, "You go to the Chu country's northern Baron province and investigate the origin of that Zhang family." "Yes, master." After the Foundation Establishment disciple left, Rong Shizu fell in a deep thought. After a while, he whispered, "Head Elder wants us to pay attention to disciples with mutated spiritual roots. Did Zhang Yiyang exchange for a Foundation Establishment pill? I'm afraid he'll enter the Foundation Establishment stage soon. I have to report it quickly, lest Head Elder blames me." Thinking of Head Elder, Rong Shizu's face showed reverence. He opened the restriction of the secret room and hurriedly walked out. Let's not talk about Rong Shizu. In a cave somewhere in the Blood Demon Mountain Range, the black-faced man who was defeated by Lu Kuan was kneeling in front of a middle-aged man and recounting what happened before with exaggerated details. After listening, the middle-aged man was silent, which made the black-faced man a little confused. After a long time, the middle-aged man said lightly, "That rogue cultivator has spirit stones in his hands and exchanged them for contribution points. He should be in seclusion to break through to the Foundation Establishment stage. We won't be able to find trouble with him in the near future. Now our Ma family is also in some trouble. It's not appropriate to make a move." The black-faced man, Ma Yi, was a little unwilling and said, "But master, Humph, my Ma family has a nascent soul stage ancestor. Even if he enters the Foundation Establishment stage, it won't be easy for him in the sect." The middle-aged man's eyes flashed. While speaking, a sound transmission talisman shot in from outside the cave. The middle-aged man caught it and scanned it with his spiritual sense. He frowned and waved his hand. "Okay, you can go back. I still have business to do." Although the black-faced man was a little unwilling, he had to leave. Chapter 645. 3 months passed in a flash. The mission hall in the core area of the blood refining sect was still very lively. Compared to the large number of Qi condensation disciples, there were also many Foundation Establishment disciples. The blood refining sect was very powerful. They had hundreds of Foundation Establishment disciples. Half of them were cultivating in seclusion, while the rest came out to complete various sect missions to earn contribution points and exchange them for cultivation techniques and secret techniques, as well as some pills that aided in cultivation. Although the missions carried out by the Foundation Establishment disciples were somewhat difficult, there were also additional rewards. So when their cultivation reached a bottleneck, the blood refining sect disciples were very active. On this day, on the second floor of the mission hall, in the area for Foundation Establishment disciples, Lu Kuan was talking with an ordinary-looking middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was Fang Zheng, who had received Lu Kuan in the Blood Mist Valley. "Junior brother Zhang's talent is indeed very high. You entered the Foundation Establishment stage so quickly. Congratulations." Fang Zheng's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. Lu Kuan grinned and said with a matter-of-fact look, "Of course. If it wasn't for entering the blood refining sect, I would have thought of a way to get Foundation Establishment pills outside." Fang Zheng asked, "Junior brother Zhang, are the rumors outside true? Is junior brother really Rellingan's talent?" Lu Kuan said proudly, "If I didn't have Rellingan's talent and have a few lightning attribute spells in my hands, how could I have passed through the Blood Mist Valley so easily?" Hearing Lu Kuan's affirmation, Fang Zheng had a strange look in his eyes. He said, "Junior brother's talent is outstanding. No matter which sect you go to, you will be welcomed. Of course, you will have a better future if you choose our blood-refining sect. Lu Kuan's rough hand patted Fangjing's shoulder and said with full approval, I entered the blood-refining sect because of the blood demon technique. If I can cultivate such a top cultivation technique, I will definitely be an expert among cultivators of the same level. Fangjing silently moved his body and shook his head. Junior brother, the blood demon technique is our sect's top cultivation technique. It is not that easy to obtain. Most foundation establishment disciples will use their contribution points to exchange for a suitable demonic art to cultivate. Lu Kuan's eyes widened like copper bells. He slapped his head and said, I almost forgot. I was looking for senior apprentice brother to ask how to obtain the blood demon technique. Fangjing fell silent as he guided Lu Kuan to a cubicle by the side. This was the mission hall for the foundation establishment disciples. Naturally, there were many large-scale missions that required the formation of teams. Therefore, there were 10 or so small cubicles for these foundation establishment disciples to discuss matters. They entered a compartment and activated the soundproof barrier. Fangjing sighed. Junior brother Zhang, it's not just you. Every disciple who enters the blood-refining sect wants to obtain the blood demon art. This technique can double a cultivator's dermic powers. Just this alone is extremely tempting. Lu Kuan's curiosity was piqued. From what Fangjing had said, the number of people in the sect who cultivated in the sanguine demon art could be counted on one hand. Fangjing slowly said, speaking of the blood demon art, as long as you have enough contribution points and are not weak, you can obtain the blood demon art. The place where you learn the blood demon art is called the Blood Demon Cave. Blood Demon Cave, that's right. The Blood Demon Cave is divided into 4 levels. The first level can only be entered by those in the early foundation establishment stage. After passing it, you can learn the first level of the blood demon art, the foundation establishment stage's cultivation technique. As for the second and third levels, they are for those in the early core formation stage and early nascent soul stage respectively. As for the fourth level, it seems that only those in the late nascent soul stage like the Grand Elder can enter. Lu Kuan couldn't help but ask, could it be that you can enter the Blood Demon Cave as long as your cultivation meets the requirements? Fangjing shook his head. I don't know about the other levels, but just the first level requires 5,000 contribution points to enter. Lu Kuan's face stiffened as he muttered, 5,000 contribution points. Fangjing revealed a look of reminiscence. These 5,000 contribution points are just the entrance ticket. Deducting these contribution points only means that you can enter. And after entering, you have to face a test of combat strength. The first level is guarded by a powerful demon beast. Only by defeating it can you accept the true test. It is said that passing this test will allow you to obtain the first level of the blood demon art. Lu Kuan couldn't help but ask, what test? Fangjing shook his head. When I first entered the early foundation establishment stage, I spent a lot of time to earn enough contribution points. Unfortunately, in the end, I couldn't even defeat the demon beast. Naturally, I didn't know about the subsequent tests. Fangjing paused and said with some lingering fear, it's fine if you can't defeat the demon beast. But if you enter the second test, your life and death are no longer in your control. A look of horror appeared in Fangjing's eyes. Although I didn't personally take the second test, other than a handful of disciples who successfully obtained the blood demon technique, the rest of the disciples who went and either died or lost their minds, becoming insane. So, if you can't complete the second test, your entire path of cultivation will be ruined. Fangjing exhaled. 5,000 contribution points can be exchanged for a powerful demonic cultivation technique. So, most foundation establishment disciples are unwilling to try the Blood Demon Cave. However, there are some disciples who cultivate to the late foundation establishment stage and then cripple their own cultivation. They enter with the magical power of the early foundation establishment stage and the divine sense of the late foundation establishment stage. These disciples have a higher success rate. But according to rumors, These disciples who obtained the blood demon art didn't succeed in entering the core formation stage because they spent a lot of time cultivating. This time, Fangjing patted Lu Kuan's shoulder and said, "Junior brother Zhang, I've told you the pros and cons. As for what to do, it's up to you." Lu Kuan said with a serious expression. "Zhang Yang thanks senior brother Fangjing for telling me so much information. If you need any help in the future, please don't hesitate to ask." Fangjing looked at Zhang Yang in front of him and laughed. "Junior brother, don't stand on ceremony. However, I really do have something I need your help with." Lu Kuan patted his chest and said, "Senior brother, just tell me what you need." Fangjing smiled. "Recently, there will be a large-scale mission in the sect. My Fang family has been fighting for it for a long time and secretly monopolized it. However, we are still lacking some manpower. If Junior brother has nothing to do in the next few days, let's do this mission together." Lu Kuan shook his head and said in a low, muffled voice, "No problem. What I lack now is contribution points. When I have 5,000 points, I can enter the Blood Demon Cave and cultivate the Blood Demon art." Fangjing's expression changed. He looked at Zhang Yang up and down. Seeing that there wasn't a trace of fear on his fierce face, he was stunned for a moment. Then he said, "Since Junior brother has made up your mind, I won't dissuade you. Junior brother Zhang, this mission that I mentioned will only be released in 3 days. I will go back and make the necessary preparations. 3 days later, we will meet in the mission hall." As he spoke, Fangjing threw out a jade slip and continued, "This jade slip contains a simple introduction to this mission. Junior brother, you could take a look first and be mentally prepared." Lu Kuan caught the jade slip and scanned it with his divine perception. He revealed a look of shock. Fangjing said again, "Junior brother, this mission is only known to a portion of the Foundation Establishment disciples. Do not spread it." Lu Kuan nodded and said, "Senior brother, don't worry. I will go back and make the necessary preparations. See you in 3 days." With that said, Lu Kuan put away the jade slip and hurried out. Fangjing looked at Lu Kuan's departing figure, and all sorts of thoughts floated in his mind. I didn't expect the sect to pay so much attention to this child. Relingen is a talented disciple. Could it be that he will be of great use to the sect in the future? It turned out that 3 months ago, Fangjing had been summoned by the Fang family's patriarch. He had personally asked about Zhang Yang's situation and finally ordered him to interact with him well. He could also participate in some of the Fang family's exclusive missions. The Fang family's patriarch was at the nascent soul stage. Their Fang family was also one of the 3 great families in the sect. Even if Zhang Yang was Relingen's talent, so what? His cultivation was only at the early foundation establishment stage. How could he attract the attention of a nascent soul stage patriarch? Chapter 646. After Lu Kuan left the mission hall, he didn't return to his new cave. Instead, he flew above the mountain gate and pondered. Although I gave Fangjing a lot of spirit stones, it shouldn't be enough for him to help me like this. Could it be that the Fang family wants to rope in a Relingen disciple like me? Lu Kuan thought for a long time and found that this was the only possibility. Previously, when he was in seclusion, the Qi condensation disciple, Yuan Dezhu, had sent several jade slips to Lu Kuan to explain the situation of the blood refining sect. This gave Lu Kuan a better understanding of the blood refining sect. This sect was mainly divided into 2 factions, the family and the master and disciple faction. The blood refining sect had a dozen large and small families. The strongest were the Chun family, Fang family, and Ma family. These 3 families had nascent soul stage ancestors as their strongest. The Chun family was the most prosperous. Their nascent soul stage ancestor was a mid-nascent soul stage ancestor. The Chun family also had an early nascent soul stage ancestor. The remaining Fang family and Ma family each had an early nascent soul stage ancestor. The Fang family had a lot more core formation stage cultivators. As for the other families, they weren't bad either. They had at least core formation stage cultivators. If these families were compared to the outside world, they could be compared to cultivation sections. The Qin family alone was not inferior to the 10 great sects of Chu. In addition to the family, the other faction was the master and disciple faction. This faction maintained a beneficial relationship between the master and disciple. The cultivators in this faction might have been rogue cultivators or disciples of the family who had become independent and abandoned their blood ties to wholeheartedly cultivate. These cultivators didn't have any ties to the family, so their cultivation was naturally much higher. However, for the sect's missions, they had no choice but to find helpers. Thus, they recruited personal disciples. It was clear that the strongest faction in the blood-refining sect was the master and disciple faction. The Grand Elder, Old Devil Pang, was the representative of this faction. In addition, the other 2 mid-nascent soul stage cultivators were also representatives. These 2 mid-nascent soul stage cultivators were second only to Old Devil Pang in terms of battle prowess. They were powerful existences that cultivated the blood devil art. The Qin family ancestor was much weaker than them. Although these 2 factions had some conflicts within the sect, they were not intense. First of all, the difference in overall strength between the 2 factions was too great. Secondly, the relationships within the family factions were quite complicated. There was also competition between the families. The entire blood-refining sect was also inseparable from the clans. This was because the large number of new disciples were mostly made up of these clans' disciples. After all, the probability of a disciple with spiritual roots in the cultivation clans was very high. As time progressed, some talented disciples would also be absorbed into the master and disciple factions. Once they joined the master-disciple faction, they would have to sever their blood ties and completely separate themselves from their families. These families couldn't do anything about such a situation. After all, their strength was inferior to others, not to mention they were all members of the blood-refining sect. The stronger the blood-refining sect was, the more benefits these families would gain. The 2 systems complemented each other. The master-disciple system nurtured powerhouses while the family system provided blood. After tens of thousands of years, the incomparably powerful blood-refining sect was formed. Lu Kuan's character, Zhang Yang, had Rellingan's talent. Coupled with his previous performance, it was understandable that he was roped in. Lu Kuan was willing to be roped in by the Fong family. What he needed the most right now were contribution points. He only had 150 points left, which was far from reaching 5,000 points. After listening to Fong Jing's description of the Blood Demon Cave, Lu Kuan vaguely guessed what the so-called final test was. Those who came out would either succeed or lose their minds. If one's spiritual sense was strong, the success rate would be much higher. It seemed that it was most likely related to the true demon intent. However, the Blood Demon Cave definitely couldn't be compared to the devil pool Lu Kuan was soaking in. Otherwise, no one would be able to complete it. If it really was a test similar to the true demon intent, Lu Kuan wasn't afraid at all. His spiritual sense, concealment, divine ability completely restrained this. The only thing blocking him was the 5,000 contribution points. Spirit stones couldn't be exchanged for contribution points, so he could only earn contribution points through various missions. Lu Kuan had a rough understanding of the situation. Ordinary missions that required collecting special materials would at most give a few dozen contribution points. As for missions that required a Foundation Establishment disciple to be stationed, they would give more than 100 contribution points. However, these missions usually took more than 5 years. On the other hand, the mission of refining spiritual immortal treasures gave a lot of contribution points, ranging from 100 to 300 points. But Lu Kuan had entered the sect as an independent cultivator and could not display his talent for refining treasures. There were also missions that required killing rogue cultivators with good rewards. The blood-refining sect dominated the entire Nanzhou, and all kinds of resources were in their hands. Sometimes rogue cultivators would take risks and attack the blood-refining sect for some benefits. As soon as these people were discovered by the blood-refining sect, they would immediately send out missions to hunt them down. Unfortunately, these missions would be snatched up by numerous blood-refining sect disciples like wolves and tigers. The remaining missions with good rewards were guarding the borders of the Nanzhou and killing demonic cultivators from other provinces. In the entire state of Qi, the Nanzhou had the most abundant resources. Although the large sects of other provinces didn't dare to attack the Nanzhou openly, they would arrange for some disciples to try to seize the small resources at the borders, such as spirit stone mines, special spiritual herb gardens, and some mineral veins. The missions at the borders were dangerous. After all, they would encounter the disciples of the Seven Fiends sect and the Yin-Yang sect. Therefore, the sect gave a lot of contribution points. The more disciples they killed, the more contribution points they would receive. Lu Kuan had also seen a mission in the Wei Kingdom Zhongzhou. The Wei Kingdom Zhongzhou was now a small battlefield. The Miraculous Gate, the Heavenly Sword sect, and the Green Alliance were all fighting. The Blood Refining sect had a branch here and was naturally involved in the battle. The Fang clan's mission rewards are still the best. The basic reward is 200 points. The more cultivators I kill, the more the reward. Lu Kuan's divine sense locked onto a jade scroll in the storage bag. His eyes revealed a look of reminiscence. Back when I was in the Yang clan, I had just entered the Foundation establishment stage. I was carrying out a large sect mission, which was to exterminate the Yi clan of the Qingzhou. I didn't expect that sneaking into the Blood Refining sect would also be a clan extermination mission. It turned out that the Jade Scroll Fang Zheng had given him was about exterminating a clan at the borders of the Western continent. The Jade Scroll didn't explain the specific reason. It only said that this clan had more than 40 Foundation establishment cultivators and 3 core formation cultivators. This Ouyang clan was considered one of the top clans in the Western continent. It was a pity that the Blood Refining sect was targeting them. Lu Kuan thought to himself, "Looks like I have to make some preparations. Under the watchful eyes of so many people, I can only use a few lightning attribute spells. If I use 1 or 2, I can say that I obtained them by chance. If I use too many, it will arouse suspicion. Looks like I can't keep these contribution points. I need at least a level 1 spiritual immortal treasure." With that in mind, Lu Kuan changed directions and flew towards Weapon Refining Valley. There were many disciples who were proficient in weapon refining. By refining immortal treasures for their fellow disciples, they could earn contribution points. A few months ago, when Lu Kuan had pretended to be in seclusion, he had casually forged a set of supreme-grade Fire Hammer immortal treasures. But to turn it into a level 1 spiritual immortal treasure, in order to avoid suspicion, he could only spend contribution points to hire other disciples to forge it. After a round of haggling, Lu Kuan spent a total of 100 contribution points to find a late Foundation establishment cultivator to refine it into a level 1 spiritual immortal treasure. The cost of refining a set of immortal treasures was much higher than ordinary ones. The speed at which that person earned contribution points made Lu Kuan extremely jealous. Unfortunately, that person had already displayed his outstanding talent for magic arts. There was no way he could reveal his proficiency in weapon refining. Chapter 647. 3 days later, Lu Kuan arrived at the plaza outside the mission hall as soon as the sun rose. There were already many Foundation establishment disciples gathered there, most of whom were disciples of the Fang clan. Lu Kuan's arrival immediately attracted the attention of many people. They sized up this unfamiliar face without the slightest scruple, and some of their eyes even flashed with malicious intent. Those who came here at this time were either members of the Fang clan or other disciples invited by the Fang clan to participate in the mission. To put it simply, the Fang clan had specially assigned this lucrative mission to outsiders. Because there was a limit to the number of people, the Fang clan had excluded a few disciples. Most of these excluded Fang clan disciples were blood-related to those selected here. An early Foundation establishment disciple, like Zhang Yang, would naturally be viewed with hostility. Although Lu Kuan wasn't too clear about the relationship between the two, when he saw the unfriendly gazes, he laughed mischievously, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. The scar on his face trembled, making him appear very sinister. At the same time, He rubbed his hands together, which faintly flashed with lightning, and glared fiercely at the crowd. The few early Foundation establishment disciples of the Fong clan couldn't help but weaken a bit when Lu Kuan glared fiercely at them. Seeing that this person was able to activate the Thunder Palm without chanting an incantation and could even hold it in his hand without releasing it, they knew that Lu Kuan was a Rellingan cultivator who had just joined the sect not long ago. However, some of the mid and late Foundation establishment disciples didn't think much of Lu Kuan. Just as Lu Kuan and the Fong clan disciples were staring at each other, Fong Zheng walked out and said with a smile, "Junior apprentice Brother Zhang is really punctual." Lu Kuan's hand flashed, and the Thunder Palm he had activated dissipated. He replied, "How could I be late for such a good mission?" When Fong Zheng saw that Lu Kuan could control the Thunder Palm with such ease, a trace of surprise flashed through his eyes. He eagerly led Lu Kuan to the other side of the plaza. Come, Junior Brother Zhang. I have a few people to introduce to you." These people were also invited by the Fong clan to help. Lu Kuan followed Fong Zheng's gaze and saw two men and a woman. The three of them were also gathered outside the mission hall, but they were not standing with the Fong family disciples. The first thing he saw was the woman inside. She had a seductive appearance and a voluptuous figure. Her loose robe couldn't hide the pride on her chest. Her skin was abnormally white, and under the morning sun, it was dazzling. Quite a few of the younger disciples of the Fong clan followed Lu Kuan and looked over. However, Lu Kuan could sense that these people were looking at the woman with fear in their eyes. Lu Kuan recognized this woman. She was Bai Jie, the one who had accompanied Fong Zheng to the Blood Mist Valley to receive him. It had only been a few months since they last met, but her cultivation had reached the peak of the early Foundation establishment stage. Furthermore, Lu Kuan noticed that this woman's appearance had become even more seductive. Her chest had also become more majestic, and her entire person exuded a seductive aura. When Bai Jie saw Lu Kuan, her eyes lit up. She giggled and said, "I didn't expect Junior Brother Zhang to have the talent of Rellingan. You've entered the Foundation establishment stage so quickly. You have to protect me in the upcoming battles." Hearing this bewitching voice, Lu Kuan seemed to be possessed. His body trembled unconsciously, and his eyes revealed a lustful look. He licked his lips and said, "Don't worry, senior sister. I'll definitely follow you closely." At this moment, Fong Zheng's eyes flashed. He glared fiercely at Bai Jie, and with some magic in his mouth, his voice entered Lu Kuan's ears. "Junior Brother Zhang, you should also get to know the other two." Bai Jie curled her lips after being glared at by Fong Zheng. She had a bored look on her face, and the seductive aura on her body was subconsciously reduced by more than half. Only then did Lu Kuan wake up. His eyes were filled with shock. He hurriedly turned his head away, not daring to look at Bai Jie again. Fong Zheng coughed lightly and pointed to a similarly burly middle-aged man. "This is Senior Brother Lei Batian. He's in the late Foundation establishment stage, and his mixed Yuan demonic arts are incomparably exquisite." Lu Kuan felt the rich demonic energy and strange aura on this person's body. He was slightly startled. He didn't look carefully just now, but now that he looked at it, this Lei Batian's cultivation was indeed not weak. "Junior Brother greets Senior Brother Lei. Senior Brother's magic is profound. I'm afraid that even among the Foundation establishment stage disciples in the sect, you're one of the strongest." Lu Kuan lowered his head, and the scar on his face softened a lot. He shamelessly flattered Lei Batian. Lei Batian glanced indifferently at Lu Kuan and let out an almost inaudible snort. He was an expert in the late Foundation establishment stage. Even if Lu Kuan had Rellingan, it wasn't worth it for him to lower himself to be friends with him. Fong Zheng was used to Lei Batian's attitude and continued to introduce the last person to Lu Kuan. This was a handsome young man with a slightly thin figure. His angular face and bright eyes were clear. If it weren't for the fact that his face was too pale, people would have a good impression of him at first glance. This is Su Zihong. He's in the early Foundation establishment stage. Fong Zheng didn't seem to be very familiar with this person and only said one sentence when introducing him. Lu Kuan saw that Su Zihong's cultivation was about the same as his and said casually, "Little brother Su, I'm Zhang Yang. We can be considered acquaintances. It's dangerous for you to go out with your thin arms and legs. But don't worry, since you're a friend introduced by senior brother Fong, I'll protect you during the battle." Su Zihong was just about to speak when he heard Lu Kuan's last sentence. The corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. He paused for a moment, then cupped his hands and said, "Then I'll have to thank big brother Zhang. Haha, as soon as I see brother Su, I'm reminded of a wandering cultivator who once helped me. His face was just as pale, and his body was just as weak." Back then, Lu Kuan walked over as if he was very familiar with Su Zihong. He patted Su Zihong's shoulder and began to talk. Not to mention Su Zihong. Even Fang Zheng was shocked by Lu Kuan's enthusiasm. But listening to the things he described, it seemed to be true, so he didn't interrupt Lu Kuan and just stood quietly to the side. Although Lu Kuan's face was full of excitement, and he spoke eloquently, he was very shocked in his heart. When he first saw Su Zihong, he faintly felt a trace of danger. This gave him a fright. It must be known that Lu Kuan's true cultivation is in the bone treasure stage. Even if he doesn't have the mana of a core formation stage, he can completely compete with a mid-core formation stage cultivator with just his physical body. Even he felt a trace of danger. This is enough to show that this Su Zihong is not simple. A mere early foundation establishment stage cultivator actually has the means to threaten a core formation stage cultivator. And when Lu Kuan secretly used the Golden Eye Divine ability to observe, he faintly discovered that there was still a trace of mana hidden in Su Zihong's body. The actual mana is definitely not as simple as the early foundation establishment stage. As Lu Kuan was telling the story, the nerves in his body suddenly sensed something. He discovered that there were two faintly discernible divine senses probing his body. They circled around his body once and then retracted. Two core formation stage divine senses. Because I'm too close to Su Zihong, they came to investigate? Could it be that these two core formation stage cultivators are secretly protecting Su Zihong? After guessing this possibility, Lu Kuan was even more curious in his heart, but he still continued to tell the story. Chapter 648. A green light flashed through the air and disappeared into the mission hall. Many disciples cried out in surprise. Junior brother Zhang, the core formation cultivator from the Fong family, has arrived. We can go in and accept the mission. Just as Su Zihong was getting impatient and Lu Kuan was about to run out of excuses, Fang Jing's voice appeared in their ears like a savior. Lei Batian had already seen the core formation cultivator. He was already at the entrance of the mission hall. All right, let's hurry up and accept the mission. Su Zihong was relieved and quickly walked forward. Lu Kuan revealed a regretful expression and was about to enter when a fragrant wind blew over. Bai Jie's round and beautiful face was pressed against Lu Kuan's cheek. Junior brother, you can tell me your story in detail later. Feeling the warm breath beside his ear, Lu Kuan's expression changed greatly. He ran into the mission hall as if he was running away. He was still afraid of losing his mind because of Bai Jie. When Bai Jie saw this, she covered her mouth and giggled. Junior sister, I don't care about the others, but you can't touch Zhang Yang. Fang Zheng appeared beside Bai Jie at some point and coldly whispered into her ear. AI, what a pity. In Junior sister's eyes, cultivators with mutated spirit roots are like steamed buns. Bai Jie's face was full of reluctance, but she still listened to Fang Jing's words. She put away her charm and walked leisurely with her body swaying. Fang Jing's eyes flashed coldly. This girl has mastered that secret technique. Looks like I'll have to teach her a lesson after this mission. Only core formation stage cultivators could accept a large-scale mission like the extermination of the Ouyang family in the western region. The rest of the Foundation Establishment Stage disciples had to obtain the permission of the core formation stage cultivators. Soon, everyone had accepted the mission and orderly walked to the plaza outside the mission hall. A hunchbacked old man with a purple gold walking stick in his hand and a black gourd hanging from it, walked step by step from the mission hall to the front of the crowd. This old man was as thin as a match and had an ugly appearance. He looked like an old man with one foot in the grave, but he emitted a powerful aura. He was a late core formation cultivator. The Foundation establishment disciples in front of him didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Even a Foundation establishment cultivator like Lei Batian lowered his head. Cough, cough, I'm getting old. The old man took out the gourd on his walking stick and poured an unknown liquid into his mouth as he muttered to himself. 30 Foundation establishment cultivators. Everyone is here. We can set off now. As he spoke, a dark green light surged from his body, and he slowly rose into the air. Floating in midair, his hand trembled as he patted the storage bag at his waist. Suddenly, a huge flying boat appeared in the sky above the square, covering the morning sun. Under the shadow, everyone could not help but hold their breaths. This was a large flying boat about 120 feet long and 10 feet wide. The outside of the black cabin was engraved with all kinds of complicated inscriptions, and a sense of oppression came from it. When Lu Kuan saw this flying boat for the first time, his eyes bloomed with astonishment. Cloud-treading ship. There's no mistake. Although the ship's details are a little different, the runes on it are exactly the design of a large cloud-treading ship. Lu Kuan's thoughts were in a mess. Did the blood-refining sect and the Yang clan purchase a cloud-treading ship? Or did the miraculous gate give it to the blood-refining sect after they destroyed the Yang clan? Fang Zheng, who was beside Lu Kuan, didn't doubt him when he saw the shock on his face. As a rogue cultivator, he wasn't surprised to see such a large ship. He patted Lu Kuan's shoulder and said, "Junior brother Zhang, the blood-refining sect is far more powerful than you can imagine. This kind of strategic flying ship was created by our sect's elders in the past few decades. Just with this, we can lead a large number of disciples to battle. It's very mobile. The Seven Fiend sect and the Yin-Yang demon cult of the state of Qi are afraid of the blood cloud-treading ship and don't dare to start a war." Lu Kuan heard this and revealed a proud expression, as if he was very lucky to be able to join the blood-refining sect. However, he felt a chill in his heart. The blood-refining sect made it themselves. Did they obtain the refining method of the Yang clan? Besides senior brother Qin and me, senior brother Yi Zetian and Gu Tianjian also had the refining method. Could it be that the two senior brothers were caught before they could destroy it? Damn it. Back then, in order to catch him off guard, I killed that yellow-browed old Taoist without asking about the two senior brothers' whereabouts. Lu Kuan's thoughts ran wild. But he didn't know that on the day the Yang clan was destroyed, old Demon Pang of the blood-refining sect personally captured old ancestor Fong of the Yang clan alive. With a late nascent soul stage ability, he searched his soul and obtained the sentient puppet technique and part of the refining method. If old ancestor Fong hadn't overdrawn the power of his nascent soul during the battle, and his nascent soul dissipated not long after the soul search, perhaps all the secrets of the Yang clan would have been discovered by old Demon Pang. But even so, the blood-refining sect relied on part of the refining inheritance of the Yang clan and their own foundation to greatly increase their strength. Originally, some of the artifacts and treasures that the Yang clan didn't have the ability to refine were completely refined by the blood-refining sect. The Blood Cloud airship was one of the powerful artifacts refined by the refining master of the blood-refining sect, using a large amount of precious materials. Lu Kuan controlled a spirit shuttle and flew onto the blood-refining sect's Blood Cloud airship. After careful observation, he found that there were many more powerful formations than the cloud-treading ship. The airship's cabin was divided into dozens of small rooms for people to meditate and rest. As long as there were a few Foundation establishment disciples outside to control the airship, it would be fine. This way, the airship could ensure that most of the disciples could maintain their peak combat strength. In addition, there were several formations inside the airship. If a war really broke out, the airship would play an incomparable role. After everyone boarded the airship, the hunchbacked old man urged the Blood Cloud airship to fly out. The forbidden formation outside automatically opened a gap, allowing the huge airship to leave. Everyone waited on the deck of the airship excitedly, listening to the old disciple talk about the various magical uses of the Blood Cloud airship. Lu Kuan quietly stood at the edge of the airship, observing some complicated runes. "Why, junior brother Zhang, are you interested in these refining patterns?" Fang Zheng walked over at some point. Lu Kuan said matter-of-factly, "Junior brother, after entering the Foundation establishment stage, do you plan to cultivate talismans? The patterns here seem to be similar to talismans." "They are somewhat similar." Fang Zheng nodded and said, "Junior brother is proficient in thunder attribute spells. It would be a waste if you don't learn the art of talismans. But refining patterns and talismans? There are some differences. Junior brother can go back to the scripture cave in exchange for some talisman refining jade slips." Lu Kuan smiled. Just as he was about to say something, a gloomy voice suddenly resounded throughout the entire Blood Cloud airship. The Foundation establishment cultivators on the airship couldn't help but tremble. Lu Kuan was caught off guard and his body trembled. "Kaka, old monster Fong, why didn't you wait for me?" Outside the airship, a black-robed man appeared. He leisurely flew over. His face was handsome and he looked very young. He was a very handsome man. The aura emitted from his body was not much weaker than the hunchbacked old man's. He was also a late core formation cultivator. When Lu Kuan saw this late core formation cultivator, he suddenly understood. Chapter 649. The Ouyang clan was located at the border of the western region, close to the northern region. They owned a small demonic spirit vein. The demonic spirit vein was a name unique to the state of Qi. Due to unknown reasons, mountains with abundant spirit Qi were bound to contain demonic Qi. Therefore, in the state of Qi, all spirit veins were called demonic spirit veins. The Blood Demon Mountain range of the Blood Refining sect was one of the top demonic spirit veins. It was also because of this environment that so many powerful demonic sects were born. The border between the western region and the northern region was quite desolate. The Ouyang clan's demonic spirit vein was the best place to cultivate in this area. With 3 core formation stage cultivators guarding it, the Ouyang clan could completely intimidate any small fry and monopolize this demonic spirit vein. In the center of this demonic spirit vein was a huge man-made city. A gray restriction shrouded the city. It was a small restriction formation that the Ouyang clan's ancestors spent a lot of effort to create. It was strong enough to block the attack of a nascent soul stage cultivator. On this day, in the depths of the Ouyang clan city, in a room covered with restrictions, 2 figures were discussing something. The leader was a dignified old man with white hair. He was the most senior person in the Ouyang clan. He was a core formation stage cultivator and was called Ancestor Ouyang by the nearby cultivators. Sitting below him was a mature, middle-aged man. This person was the Ouyang clan's current clan master, Ouyang Bo. He was a Foundation establishment stage cultivator. Ancestor Ouyang stroked his white beard and asked with a serious expression, "Bo, has there been any news of Ma Fei recently?" Clan Master Ouyang Bo shook his head and said worriedly, "Ancestor, Ma Fei seemed to have disappeared in the past 3 months. No matter what method we used, we couldn't contact him. My 2 granduncles and I both believe that Ma Fei is very likely dead." Ancestor Ouyang sighed and said slowly, "There's been no news for 3 months. I suspect that Ma Fei was discovered by the Oath Stone and his soul was destroyed." Ouyang Bo frowned. "But Ancestor, the blood refining sect's oath is nothing more than betraying the sect, killing fellow disciples, and revealing the sect's cultivation method. We only asked Ma Fei to tell us the refining process of the blood spirit pill and the ratio of some herbs. This is completely unrelated. Logically speaking, it shouldn't have been discovered by the Oath Stone." Old Ancestor Ouyang pondered for a moment and said with some annoyance, "We were too naive. For the blood refining sect, the only use of the blood spirit pill is to assist in the cultivation of the blood demon art. It will help in breaking through the first 3 levels of the blood demon art. If you think about it this way, the blood spirit pill and the blood demon technique complement each other. It is very likely that they are a part of the blood demon technique. If we covet the blood spirit pill, it is equivalent to coveting the blood demon technique. Patriarch Ouyang's eyes were filled with disappointment. Although Ma Fei is going to assist in the refining of the blood spirit pill, and the steps he knows are only his speculations, this information is still related to the blood demon technique. If that's the case, when Ma Fei makes up his mind to reveal our information, it's no different from revealing his sex cultivation method. He will definitely be discovered by the Oath Stone. Ouyang Bo clenched his fists and said unwillingly, "We sponsor Ma Fei with a total of 5 foundation establishment pills." This allowed him to enter the foundation establishment stage with 4 spiritual roots. Who knew that he would die before he could do anything? Old ancestor Ouyang also felt that it was a pity. He muttered, "After a lot of speculations from scattered information, we know that the main ingredient of the blood spirit pill is the blood spirit essence from the Blood Mist Valley. We also have the means to condense the flesh and blood of 100 chi refining late-stage cultivators. Unfortunately, we don't know the specific refining steps and the other ingredients for the blood spirit pill. We can't even imitate and modify it." Old ancestor Ouyang sighed. If we had the blood spirit pill, our Tian would be able to completely activate the devil marrow body. His cultivation of the devil path would advance by leaps and bounds. The bottleneck of the core formation stage would be nothing to him. He would even have a high chance of entering the nascent soul stage. Ouyang Bo sighed. His youngest son, Ouyang Tian, was tested to have the devil marrow body after entering the foundation establishment stage. This was an excellent physique for cultivating the top-level devil art. Unfortunately, this physique had to be completely activated in order to display its extraordinary talent. The only way to activate it was to soak in the legendary True Devil Pool. The True Devil Pool was a legendary item. In the state of Qi, only the 3 devil sects had it. Therefore, it was impossible to soak in the True Devil Pool. Later, the Ouyang clan found out through some unknown means that the blood refining sect had a mysterious pill called the blood spirit pill that could also activate the devil marrow body. They racked their brains and secretly supported a disciple of the blood refining sect's Ma clan, Ma Fei, who was disliked by the blood refining sect's Ma clan. Unilateral support wouldn't arouse the Oath Stone's reaction. Moreover, they had evidence of their transactions with Ma Fei. When the time was right, they could threaten Ma Fei and leak some information. But who would have thought that this borderline game wouldn't be so easy to play? Ma Fei had disappeared for 3 months. After all, ancestor Ouyang had lived for a long time. He slowly said, "Tian Er's cultivation is only at the middle foundation establishment stage. There's still some time before he reaches core formation. If we gather the strength of the entire clan, we might be able to help him enter the core formation stage. Perhaps the devil marrow body will undergo some changes after entering the core formation stage. After all, we only discovered Tian Er's physique after he entered the foundation establishment stage. As for the blood spirit pill, let's forget about it. If the blood refining sect finds out, the entire Ouyang clan will face a huge crisis." Ouyang Bo was unwilling to give up. "Ancestor, since Tian has the devil marrow body, why don't we rely on the northern?" Just as he was halfway through his sentence, the ground suddenly shook. The tables, chairs, and tea were all swaying as if there was an earthquake. Ancestor Ouyang's divine sense came out of his body. His eyes were filled with horror as he said in disbelief, "The blood refining sect's blood cloud airship has been discovered." Ouyang Bo exclaimed, "How is that possible? We didn't leave any traces. How could the blood refining sect discover us?" Ancestor Ouyang immediately stood up. The wrinkles on his face deepened. He said anxiously, "Bo quickly take Tian and our clan's savings and leave through the underground miniature teleportation array. Then, escape to the northern region and find the 7 Fiends sect. Your 2 granduncles and I will resist the enemy." After saying that, Ancestor Ouyang opened the secret room's restriction. His body flashed with a demonic light, and he flew out. Ouyang ran in another direction. A large number of cultivators and mortals rushed out of the Ouyang clan city. They raised their heads and looked outside the city with a dull expression. On the gray light barrier, there was a huge shadow that was violently hitting the Ouyang clan's prideful grand formation from the outside. The earthquake-like feeling just now was caused by the huge shadow hitting the light barrier. Rumble. The shadow approached once again, and a second round of violent bombardment occurred. The light curtain outside the city was directly broken, and a bright silver thick ram forcibly pierced through. The surrounding light barrier was like a mirror. It completely shattered, revealing a giant dahe-colored airship that was 10 feet long, 10 feet wide, and 10 feet tall. The ram was at the front of the airship. Chapter 650. On the Blood Cloud airship, all the disciples of the blood refining sect looked at the silver ram in shock. They could feel the heart-palpitating aura coming from it. Their faces gradually revealed a fanatical look. As expected of the sect's top warship, it even had a powerful ability to break restrictions. Lu Kuan also revealed a look of disbelief, but that was not the end of his shock. This aura, there is no mistake. It must be the Silver Dragon meteorite iron. The miniature array on the Silver Ram is almost the same as the one on the Silver Dragon airship. The blood refining sect not only obtained the Yang clan's refining inheritance, but also the method of refining sentient puppets. After all, the usage of the Silver Dragon meteorite iron can only be found in the art of sentient puppets. Lu Kuan felt the power of the blood refining sect. With the late nascent soul Old Devil Pang, the Silver Dragon meteorite iron could be refined. It is very difficult to refine a genuine nascent soul stage sentient puppet. Even Old Devil Pang would find it difficult to refine one without a certain amount of experience. However, the blood refining sect might be able to refine a core formation stage puppet. The materials and resources of such a sect are several times that of the Yang clan. When the blood refining sect was willing to form an alliance with the miraculous gate, one of the conditions should be the many refining inheritances of the Yang clan. It seems that the blood refining sect still has many things worth investigating. Lu Kuan's mind was filled with thousands of thoughts, but he was soon awakened by the sound of the outside world. The blood refining sect has gone too far. My Ouyang clan did not touch the resources of the South Continent, and we have no enmity with the blood refining sect. How dare you kill your way here? Do you really think that the great clans of the West Continent are easy to bully? Ancestor Ouyang rose from the depths of the city with a middle-aged man and woman. His voice, which was mixed with profound magic power, resounded throughout the land. The middle-aged man and woman were the other two early core formation stage cultivators of the Ouyang clan. The appearance of the three of them did not calm the disciples of the Ouyang clan. The name of the blood refining sect was like a nightmare, terrifying them. On the Blood Cloud airship, the old man of the Fong clan restrained his aura and did not speak. The handsome man in black robe beside him laughed wildly. Kaka, my blood refining sect will destroy whoever we want to destroy. As for why we came to your Ouyang clan, you should know in your heart. After he finished speaking, the black-robed man flew into the air towards the three core formation cultivators of the Ouyang clan. Faint, ghostly cries could be heard from afar. Even from afar, it was enough to make people dizzy. Ancestor Ouyang looked at the black-robed man's appearance and saw the ghost voice's divine ability. His face turned pale as he said, "Are you the bone soul of the blood refining sect?" The black-robed man chuckled. "Old man, you've heard of my name? Not bad, not bad. I'll let you taste the might of my natal magic treasure, the soul-sifting banner." As he spoke, an eerie black banner appeared in the bone soul's hand. A gray light flashed, and an evil spirit with horns, for eyes and fangs, rushed out from the banner. It emitted waves of energy that belonged to the middle stage of the core formation stage. Old ancestor Ouyang's face turned bitter. The bone soul in front of him was a powerhouse who had been in the limelight for the past few decades in the blood refining sect. Inside his natal magic treasure, the soul-sifting banner, lived an evil spirit that was comparable to a core formation cultivator. Its strength was at the peak of the late stage of the core formation stage. Nephews, let's fight with all our strength and buy time for Tion and the others. Old ancestor Ouyang sent a message to the two beside him. At the same time, he took out a dark gold copper mirror and shot several dark gold rays at the bone soul. The man and woman cautiously faced the evil spirit with the waves of energy that belonged to the middle stage of the core formation stage. In the blink of an eye, the four core formation cultivators began to fight in the sky above the city. Waves of energy spread out in all directions. As soon as the battle began, the bone soul alone completely suppressed the three core formation cultivators. The Fong clan elder on the Blood Cloud airship was not surprised at all. He coldly ordered, "All of you attack. No matter if it's a mortal or a cultivator, leave no one alive." As soon as he finished speaking, the group of Foundation establishment cultivators of the blood refining sect roared and rushed down. Although there were only 30 of them, their techniques and magic tools were superior to the Ouyang clan disciples below. Even though the Ouyang clan had 10 more Foundation establishment cultivators than them, they were still forced to retreat. They could only rely on the restrictions of the city to deal with them. The late-stage, core formation elder of the Fong clan stood quietly on the Blood Cloud airship. He held a walking stick in one hand and a gourd in the other. He was drinking something. Seeing that old ancestor Ouyang and the others had no choice but to use their gold core power to resist, the elder's late-stage core formation spiritual sense spread out. He coldly sent a message. "Old man, the blood refining sect has already investigated the matter between the Ouyang clan and Ma Fei 2 months ago. But do you know why we only made our move now?" Old ancestor Ouyang's expression suddenly changed. In his daze, he was almost hit by the bone soul's magic weapon. He quickly focused his attention to deal with it. The Fong clan elder's lips curled up slightly. He continued to send a message. "Because we spent 2 months infiltrating the Ouyang clan. We have already destroyed the teleportation array on the other side of the Ouyang clan. Your disciples who were preparing to escape must be wondering why the teleportation array can't be activated now. Ha ha ha. Damn it." Old ancestor Ouyang's eyes suddenly turned red. The aura on his body fluctuated violently. The bone soul said eerily, "You want to explode your gold core in front of me?" His soul-sifting banner glowed with a gray light. The ear-piercing cries of countless evil spirits could be heard from inside. Old ancestor Ouyang's expression froze. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the soul-sifting banner suddenly doubled in size and wrapped around old ancestor Ouyang's body along with his protective spiritual light. The bone soul's handsome face revealed a rare, serious expression. His hands formed a complicated seal. Even the evil spirits in the distance were summoned back into the soul-sifting banner. Old ancestor Ouyang's miserable screams could be heard from inside. Without the evil spirits in the middle stage core formation realm, the other 2 core formation cultivators looked at each other. Their auras were unstable, and they shot off in another direction without looking back. They didn't have the slightest intention of fighting to the death. Cough, cough. I knew this guy wanted to refine the soul of a middle-stage core formation realm cultivator. AI, my old bones have no choice but to move. The Fong clan elder waved his hand and put away the Blood Cloud airship. He turned into a ray of green light and chased after them. Ignoring the battle above, Lu Kuan was controlling the fire hammer magic tool below. From time to time, he would release a few thunder palms with a bloodthirsty expression. But in reality, he was just slacking off. His battle prowess was close to that of a middle-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. His attention was focused on Su Zihong. After disembarking from the Blood Cloud airship, all the blood refining sect disciples rushed towards their opponents. Even Bai Jia licked her plump lips and rushed towards the 2 young Ouyang clan cultivators. But Su Zihong was different. In addition to controlling an ordinary long sword magic tool, he also held a scarlet bead in his hand. As he fought, he checked the direction as if he was looking for something. His strength was also very strange. Although he was only at the early stage of foundation establishment, the power of his long sword magic tool was no less than that of a middle-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Many enemies were repelled by him. At the same time, Su Zihong also had an exquisite escape technique. Even if he was discovered by a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator of the Ouyang clan, he could easily escape and lead the enemy to the other blood-refining sect disciples. Lu Kuan was very curious about Su Zihong. He repeatedly said that he would protect Su Zihong and openly followed him. He wanted to see what this mysterious disciple's goal was. Chapter 651. Su Zihong saw an early-stage foundation establishment disciple of the Ouyang family being forced back by Zhang Yiyang's fire hammer and thunder palm. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In his eyes, this Zhang Yiyang was very annoying. When they were in the sect, Zhang Yiyang was very familiar with him and talked a lot of nonsense. Even now, Zhang Yiyang was always by his side, saying that he wanted to protect him. Am I really like the rogue cultivator who saved his life? Su Zihong couldn't help but think. But this Zhang Yiyang's strength is really powerful. He can control the thunder palm with ease, and the power of the magic tool is not weak. He can compete with a mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Su Zihong's eyes flashed with a trace of pride. Relingen is extraordinary, but compared to my dark spirit root, he is still a lot worse. A dark spirit root can increase the magical power of the devil path. It's not something an ordinary cultivator can imagine. Su Zihong entered the blood-refining sect 6 years ago. His Su family was a declining family in the sect. There was only one mid-stage foundation establishment patriarch in the family, and he was at the end of his life. Other than that, there were only a few disciples in the Qi refining stage. Su Zihong was tested by the family to have 3 spiritual roots. He was the only descendant of the Su family with spiritual roots. Naturally, the Su family spent a lot of effort to send him to the blood-refining sect. When he first entered the sect, Su Zihong didn't know that he actually had the legendary dark spirit root. But as his cultivation grew, he found that he was very talented in casting spells. He could quickly comprehend some complicated spells. His cultivation speed also gradually increased. In just 5 years, he cultivated from a mid-stage Qi refining stage to the foundation establishment stage. After entering the foundation establishment stage, Elder Qian, who had a very high position in the sect, secretly summoned him. This early-stage nascent soul elder was the chief disciple of the Great Elder and had a very high position in the sect. After meeting this Elder Qian, Su Zihong knew that he had a rare dark spirit root aptitude that was hard to come by in thousands of years. It had an incredible boost to all kinds of Devil Dao divine arts. During that meeting, Elder Qian also rewarded Su Zihong with 5,000 contribution points. Such an opportunity caused Su Zihong's ambitions to swell. After entering the early foundation establishment stage, he made some preparations before heading to the Blood Devil Grotto with the merit points he had earned. After narrowly escaping death, Su Zihong successfully obtained the first 3 levels of the Blood Demon technique. After obtaining the Blood Demon technique, he finally understood why the Dark Spirit root was so powerful. As long as an immortal cultivator with a dark spiritual root activated any demonic technique, its power would be much stronger than that of other cultivators. Moreover, the extent of this effect would increase with the increase of their cultivation. Even though Su Zihong had just started cultivating the Blood Demon technique, he was able to display the various spells and abilities within it. Even an average foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator would not be a match for him. However, even though the blood magic skill was powerful, it was extremely difficult to cultivate. Other than increasing the power of the skill, the dark spiritual root could not increase the speed of cultivation. However, the mission to exterminate the Ouyang family this time was an opportunity for Su Zihong to speed up his cultivation of the Blood Demon skill. Su Zihong looked at the red bead in his hand and glanced at Zhang Yiyang, who was not far away. He thought to himself, "Forget it. I'll just let him follow me. He can also help me clear the obstacles. He silently recited the incantation in his heart. The red bead lit up slightly, and a mysterious feeling appeared in the northwest direction. He immediately changed his direction and rushed towards the northwest of the city. At this moment, Zhang Yang had just killed his opponent in the early foundation establishment stage. After grabbing his opponent's storage bag and magic weapon, he followed Su Zihong closely. Su Zihong did not pay attention to Zhang Yang. He felt the temperature of the bead in his hand increasing, and his heart became more and more excited. The devil marrow body. As long as I personally use the devouring blood bead to refine it, then absorb the demonic essence of the devil marrow body, my blood will undergo a change, thus increasing my aptitude to cultivate the blood demon art. This way, the cultivation of the first 3 levels of the blood demon technique will be greatly accelerated. I can also reach the great circle of foundation establishment a day earlier. This is a great opportunity. Elder Qian is so resourceful that he even knows that the Ouyang family is hiding the devil marrow body. Su Zihong suppressed the excitement in his heart and soon arrived outside a very ordinary house in the northwest of the city. Although the house was very simple, it was covered with a layer of light red seal. This seal was incompatible with the Ouyang family's array. Su Zihong looked at the devouring blood bead in his hand with a strange expression. He faintly felt that the seal in front of him had some connection with the bead in his hand. Elder Qian said that the devouring blood bead can find the location of the devil marrow body. Could it be because of this layer of light red seal? This seal in front of me was secretly arranged by my sect? He was incomparably surprised. All of this was arranged by Elder Qian? Su Zihong was not stupid. Combining the scene in front of him with the mission that Elder Qian had told him, he faintly perceived the truth. The blood-refining sect had long known that the Ouyang family had the devil marrow body. They had secretly infiltrated the Ouyang family's city and arranged an invisible seal here. If Su Zihong's guess was correct, this was the location of the Ouyang family's transmission array. As long as the Ouyang family discovered that the blood-refining sect had attacked, they would definitely arrange for the devil marrow body to escape. As soon as he arrived here, he was trapped by the seal secretly arranged by the blood-refining sect. This seal was also connected to the devouring blood bead in his hand. The blood-refining sect had arranged everything. He only needed to complete the last step, which was to personally kill the devil marrow body, absorb it into the devouring blood bead, and then refine it into devil marrow essence. The dark spiritual root is highly valued by the sect. I'm afraid that the blood demon technique was deliberately arranged by the sect's elders. Otherwise, why would they directly give me 5,000 contribution points? But the sect could have just taken away the devil marrow body. Did they spend so much effort just to train me? Just as Su Zihong's thoughts were running wild, he felt the devouring blood bead in his hand become slightly hot. Then, Zhang Yang's loud voice entered his ears. This seal is really interesting. It seems to know that we've arrived, so it's starting to weaken. I wonder what kind of amazing treasure is hidden inside. Su Zihong heard this and released his divine sense. Sure enough, it was as Zhang Yang said. The seal in front of him began to weaken. He suddenly thought of something, and his expression turned serious. A blood-red light flashed in his hand, and another long sword magic artifact appeared in front of him. The 2 long swords smoothly combined into one, turning into a blood-red flying sword. Zhang Yang's eyes widened. Brother Su, you can actually control a complete set of magic artifacts so easily, so fierce. Su Zihong was too lazy to pay attention to Zhang Yang. Instead, he looked at the house in front of him with a dignified expression. He only knew that the devil marrow body cultivator was at the middle stage of the foundation establishment realm, but he wasn't sure if there were others following the devil marrow body. Zhang Yang's magic power surged, and he summoned another fire hammer. He placed it in front of him and lazily said, Brother Su, why are you so nervous? Is there a late-stage foundation establishment realm cultivator inside? At this time, the people in the house seemed to have discovered that the seal trapping them had weakened. 3 magic artifacts shot out from inside and bombarded the weakened seal. Chapter 652. Haha, I've finally found a late foundation establishment cultivator. Come, let's fight to our heart's content. An excited voice suddenly sounded, and Libation's figure walked over from not far away. He summoned a pitch-black trident, and a surge of devil chi emerged from his body. The trident was mixed with a powerful force, and it directly blasted at the restriction outside the house. In addition to the attacks of the few people inside, the weakened restriction was directly shattered. Libation's eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty light, and he controlled the trident to attack. When Zhang Yang saw this scene, he suddenly laughed wildly and said, "Senior brother Lei, count me in." After that, Zhang Yang also controlled 2 fire hammers and joined the battle. He overestimated himself and said, "Brother Su, I'll leave the mid-foundation establishment cultivator to you." Haha, I'm going to fight a late foundation establishment cultivator. Su Zihong was confused. What's going on? Were the 2 of them also arranged by the sect? Did they help me block the other 2 late foundation establishment cultivators? He quickly recovered and scanned with his divine sense. He recognized the last mid-foundation establishment disciple as the target that Elder Qian told him about, Ouyang Tian with the devil essence body. The corners of Su Zihong's mouth curled up slightly. A dark red light flashed on his body, and his whole body seemed to distort as he quickly flashed forward. His explosive speed was not inferior to a flying magic tool. In the blink of an eye, he had already arrived at the other side of the house. He controlled the blood-red flying sword and blasted it at a wall. With a rumbling sound, the wall collapsed, revealing a man in a blue robe who was about 30 years old. He was holding a purple-black umbrella-shaped magic tool in his hand to block the blood-red flying sword. This blue-robed man was the young master of the Ouyang family, Ouyang Tian with the devil essence body. He's a bit weak. Su Zihong was a bit surprised by Ouyang Tian's strength. Logically speaking, a devil essence body was not inferior to a dark spiritual root. So why did his strength seem no different from an ordinary mid-foundation establishment cultivator? Just as he was a bit stunned, Ouyang Tian threw a dozen talismans at him. All kinds of mid-level spells came at him. It was as if these mid-level talismans, it was as if they were free. Even though they were all at the early stages, Su Zihong didn't want to take them head-on. His body flashed with a bloody light, and his figure was extremely fast. Once again, he used the strange escape technique to dodge this wave of attacks. However, judging from the redness on his face, it was clear that it was extremely strenuous for him to execute the escape technique consecutively, dodging the opponent's talisman. After the attack, Su Zihong narrowed his eyes and secretly activated the power of the blood demon art in his blood. A faint blood-red mist rose from his body. The flying sword he controlled suddenly shone brightly and emitted a corrosive aura. It actually directly pierced through the umbrella-shaped magic tool. Ouyang Tian's reaction was not slow. After discovering that the power of his opponent's artifact had increased greatly, he retreated to the side. This sword only grazed his mana barrier. Looking at the barrier that was about to shatter, he revealed an expression of disbelief. That umbrella-shaped immortal treasure was a level 2 spiritual immortal treasure, and one that focused on defense. Even with the spiritual power of a mid-foundation establishment cultivator, it had actually been broken by an early foundation establishment cultivator. Even though he was indescribably shocked, Ouyang Tian's hand movements were not slow. He quickly took out a gray metal ball and formed a seal. The gray ball shot towards the blood-red flying sword at an extremely fast speed. The metal ball directly collided with the flying sword, instantly transforming into countless gray threads that wrapped around the blood-red sword. At this moment, Su Zihong suddenly discovered that his connection with the magic tool had been severed. The blood-red sword also trembled for a moment before splitting into 2 flying swords. Clearly, it had split apart without Su Zihong's control. Seeing this, Ouyang Tian's heart relaxed slightly. He clenched his teeth and looked at the early Foundation establishment cultivator blocking his way. He was extremely furious. If not for the fact that my devil marrow body has not been activated, how could I be suppressed by an early Foundation establishment cultivator? Now is not the time to fight back. I must escape. These thoughts flashed through Ouyang Tian's mind. Without hesitation, he continued to shoot the same gray ball in Su Zihong's direction. Under the stimulation of his mana, the gray ball's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had fallen in front of Su Zihong. Su Zihong's face was flushed red. It seemed that he could no longer use the escape technique from before. Even his protective shield was entangled by the gray ball's dense gray threads. Ouyang Tian was not surprised at all. This gray ball was something that his Ouyang clan had spent a large amount of money to obtain from the Seven Fiends sect. The gray threads were a unique ability of the Seven Fiends sect. Not only could it corrupt magic tools, but it also had the miraculous effect of trapping enemies. The only pity was that this gray ball was a one-time use magic tool. Once it was used, it would be gone. The blue-robed man had most of the Ouyang clan's resources in his hands, but he only had 5 gray balls. After controlling his opponent, Ouyang Tian did not take advantage of the situation to pursue. Instead, he quickly took out a flying magic tool. He had just briefly watched the battle between his father and uncle. He discovered that the two of them were being suppressed by the late-stage blood-refining sect cultivator. In addition, with the assistance of the lightning magic tool, even if he went to help, it would be useless. At this moment, he could only escape. Only then would he have a chance in the future. But just as Ouyang Tian activated the flying magic tool and was about to soar into the sky, a fluctuation of magic power suddenly appeared behind him. A small blood-red arrow appeared out of thin air. Ouyang Tian was not prepared at all. His magic shield was easily pierced through, and the small blood-red arrow sank into his head. My devil marrow body has not been activated, and I actually died like this. This was the last thought that flashed through Ouyang Tian's mind. His body fell to the ground with a thump. His head had suffered an attack, and even his divine soul had been cleanly exterminated by the small, blood-red arrow. He was thoroughly dead. Su Zihong's figure slowly appeared behind him. His face was pale. Using 2 blood demon arts' supernatural abilities in a row had taken a toll on his early Foundation establishment magic power. Not too far away, Su Zihong, who had been hit by the gray ball, slowly dissipated. It turned out that he had used a secret technique to create an illusion. He had confused Ouyang Tian, and then he had sneaked up on him and used the Blood Demon Art's unique Blood Demon Arrow to easily kill him. Tian, on the other side of the room, the one with the highest cultivation was naturally Ouyang Bo, the late Foundation establishment patriarch. He felt that Ouyang Tian's aura had disappeared, and his heart was filled with grief and indignation. Lei Batian, who was fighting with Ouyang Bo, immediately seized the opportunity. The 3 sharp blades at the front of the trident left his body, bypassed Ouyang Bo's magic tool, and pierced through his magic shield, killing him. When the other late Foundation establishment cultivator of the Ouyang family saw this, his eyes flashed with fear. Taking advantage of Lei Batian's focus on dealing with Ouyang Bo, he immediately controlled his large blade magic tool and knocked away Zhang Yiyang's fire hammer. Then, he slapped a talisman on himself. Releasing a green light, he actually shot out of the city as if he was flying. Heaven Evasion Talisman. Lei Batian put Ouyang Bo's storage pouch into his waist. His face was filled with surprise. Obviously, this cultivator had a wind attribute top-grade talisman. He was surprised. The Heaven Evasion Talisman's speed can't be that fast. You can't escape. Lei Batian then summoned a spirit shuttle. His body was filled with an astonishing aura. He directly used some kind of magic power eruption secret technique to chase after him at an even faster speed. Zhang Yang spat out a mouthful of congested blood, as if he had been slightly injured. Below, Su Zihong looked at the distant Lei Batian, then looked at the corpse in front of him. His eyes flashed with anxiety. He said to Zhang Yiyang, who was cursing, Brother Zhang, I'm going to use a secret technique. I'll have to trouble you to protect me. Haha, Brother Su, don't worry. I'll leave it to your big brother. Zhang Yang was slightly taken aback, but he agreed without hesitation. He even diligently began to set up a simple defensive formation around them. Chapter 653. After Zhang Yang, or rather, Lu Kuan, set up a simple defensive spell formation, he retreated about 30 meters and looked curiously at Su Zihong, who was in the middle of casting a spell. When Lu Kuan was fighting, he had controlled his strength very well. He could guarantee that even the core formation cultivators who were secretly protecting Su Zihong did not notice anything strange. They would only think that he was a Relian disciple with extraordinary potential. In the battle with the two late Foundation establishment cultivators, he only used his fire hammer and thunder palm to harass them from time to time. The main force was still Lei Batian. Lu Kuan's supporting attacks were very appropriate, making people feel that he had rich battle experience. Although he was fighting, most of his attention was focused on Su Zihong. After Su Zihong killed the enemy, he realized that Su Zihong's main purpose in coming to the Ouyang clan was the dead Foundation establishment cultivator lying on the ground. Su Zihong did not even look at that person's storage pouch. He directly placed it at his waist and stared at the corpse on the ground. This scene made him feel a little strange. During the battle, Lu Kuan's golden eye observed that Su Zihong's blood contained magic power. Without a doubt, he was cultivating the blood demon technique, a top-level technique. From this short exchange, he could see the power of the blood demon technique. The escape technique that Su Zihong used at the beginning was almost as fast as a body cultivator. Lu Kuan analyzed that this should be the secret technique of the blood demon technique. On one hand, it activated the blood in the body, causing the muscles to congeal blood, exploding the speed of the body and the endurance of the blood vessels. Together with the corresponding escape technique, it could achieve such rapid movement. From this point, it could be seen that the blood demon technique was different from the techniques of ordinary cultivators. It used the physical body. Just this escape technique alone made Lu Kuan very curious. Body cultivators had reached the pinnacle of physical speed, but there was no such technique that could be used together with it. Lu Kuan himself also relied on the explosive power of the lightning attribute spell to increase his speed. If he could obtain this escape technique, he might be able to increase his speed as a body cultivator to another level. As for the divine ability that Su Zihong used after that, it was a pure spell. The Phantom Doppelganger technique was quite mysterious. First, it created an illusion on the spot, and then it instantly hit itself. Most of its aura dissipated. If that guy in the middle stage of the Foundation establishment stage had a stronger divine sense, he might have been able to see through it. The final blood arrow was not a simple divine ability. Its casting speed was extremely fast, and its power was not weak. However, what Lu Kuan couldn't understand was that whether it was Su Zihong's magic tool or the blood arrow at the end, their power didn't seem to be something an early Foundation establishment cultivator could use. Even if Su Zihong had blood magic in his body, his power shouldn't have increased so much. He was almost at the peak of the middle Foundation establishment stage. Lu Kuan couldn't help but wonder if he was similar to Pan Yin and had a physique that could amplify spells. Not to mention that Su Zihong cultivates the Blood Devil art. He also has two core formation stage cultivators secretly protecting him. He is most likely a core disciple of the Blood Refining sect. If I can get in touch with him, I might be able to observe more things related to the Blood Devil art, which would be beneficial to me. Lu Kuan simply sat down cross-legged and watched Su Zihong cast the spell. Su Zihong didn't seem to care about Lu Kuan's observation. He took out the red devouring blood bead and formed a mysterious seal with his hand. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood essence towards the bead. When the bead was activated by Su Zihong, Lu Kuan's pupils suddenly shrank. He was surprised to find that the dangerous aura he felt before was coming from this bead. The devouring blood bead slowly left Su Zihong's palm and floated above Ouyang Tian's body. A blood-red flame slowly floated out and gently fell on his body. With a crackling sound, the flame easily turned Ouyang Tian's body into ashes. However, the strange thing was that for some unknown reason, Ouyang Tian's bones didn't turn into ashes. Lu Kuan immediately focused his gaze on the bones. The bones of a mere middle foundation establishment stage cultivator were actually enscathed in the face of a cultivator's flame. Upon closer inspection, Lu Kuan discovered that there were many purple-black spots on the bones. They emitted a faint black qi. It was this black qi that blocked the burning of the blood-red flame. However, this was only temporary. The purple-black spots only covered a small part of the bones. The rest of the bones were gradually evaporated by the high temperature, leaving behind only the spots. Su Zihong seemed to have expected this scene. He muttered an incantation, and all the speckled bones on the ground gradually gathered together. They were about the size of a watermelon and were wrapped in the blood-red flame. It seems that Su Zihong wants to refine these purple-black spots. As a master refiner and body refiner, Lu Kuan immediately guessed Su Zihong's purpose in casting the spell. The bones of this Ouyang clan's people are different. The purple-black spots give me a feeling that they're a bit similar to demon scales. I don't know if there is any connection between the two. After looking at it a few more times, Lu Kuan realized that it would take some time to refine this demon bone. So, he looked at the other places in the castle. At this time, the castle was filled with the sound of magical explosions and the sound of weapons clashing. The disciples of the blood-refining sect were incessantly burning and looting everywhere for fear that they would miss out on the good things of the Ouyang clan. The area he was in had very few restrictions. There was also the aura of a late Foundation Establishment Stage cultivator, so there weren't many Foundation Establishment Stage disciples of the Ouyang clan. About 100 feet away, Lu Kuan saw Bai Jia, a beautiful woman, grabbing two defenseless Qi refining stage cultivators and entering a house with a look of desire. This made Lu Kuan feel a little puzzled. If Bai Jia wanted to cultivate some kind of demonic cultivation technique, she should be looking for Foundation Establishment Stage cultivators. Why would she look for Qi refining stage cultivators? Even if it was her personal preference, she wouldn't do it on the battlefield. After thinking for a while, Lu Kuan could only conclude that it was a problem with Bai Jia's cultivation technique. The blood refining sect cultivation technique is very complex. Many of their Foundation Establishment Stage disciples are very strong. This is the true strength of a large sect. They are much stronger than the sects of the Chu country. Lu Kuan looked up again. The late core formation stage cultivator called Guhan was floating in the air. His soul-sifting banner was wrapped around the Ouyang clan's mid-core formation stage cultivator, whose status was unknown. Right, where have I heard of this core formation stage cultivator surnamed Gu? Lu Kuan looked at Guhan in the air. He had a strange feeling about himself, but his 100 years of memories were too complicated. He couldn't recall where he had heard it. Right, it's been so long. Why hasn't the old man from the Fong clan returned? With his late core formation stage cultivation, it should be easy for him to deal with two early core formation stage cultivators. Lu Kuan suddenly realized that the old man from the Fong clan had been chasing for nearly 2 hours. According to the difference in speed between the two, he should be able to catch up in the time it takes for an incense stick to burn and finish the battle in 15 minutes. Just as Lu Kuan was feeling puzzled, the core formation stage divine sense surrounding him, and Su Zihong trembled and was retracted. It seemed that something had happened. Lu Kuan also sensed something. He raised his head and looked towards the north of the castle. He saw a green light shooting back from afar. It was the late core formation stage ancestor from the Fong clan. An exasperated voice came from the light. Junior Marshal Brother Gu, hurry up and retract your technique. Damn it, there are people from the Seven Fiends sect lying in ambush. Prepare to break out. The bone soul in the air suddenly opened his eyes. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes. He didn't hesitate and forcefully stopped the spell. He had stuck several talismans on the soul-gathering flag. He placed the soul-sifting banner into his storage bag. Chapter 654. At the same time, 7 figures suddenly appeared outside the city. They floated in the air and circled around the Ouyang clan's small city. The Ouyang clan's minor restriction array seemed to have recovered, and a faint gray light curtain once again sealed the city. These people's faces couldn't be seen clearly, but since they were able to fly, they were clearly core formation cultivators. 7 core formation cultivators. Not good, gray light. They're from the 7 Fiends sect. What are you afraid of? We have 2 late core formation martial uncles. We don't have to be afraid of them. What kind of array is this? Are we trapped? We have a blood cloud flying ship. They can't be trapped. Many blood-refining sect disciples saw these figures and their expressions changed. But with 2 late core formation cultivators in the sect, they weren't particularly flustered. Of course, there were also a few disciples with sharp eyes. When they saw this scene, they felt a trace of unease in their hearts and secretly hid in the Ouyang clan's restrictions. Lu Kuan also discovered these 7 core formation cultivators. He had the golden eye divine ability. Even if he didn't release his divine sense, he could still roughly see their cultivation. They were all at the mid-core formation stage. Suddenly, one of the core formation cultivators near the northwest side of the city shot a golden light towards Lu Kuan. This golden light directly cut towards Su Zihong, who was in the middle of refining the devil bone. This golden light shot over from a distance. Although it was very fast, it still needed several breaths of time to shoot over from outside the city. Logically speaking, Su Zihong should have been able to dodge it. But Lu Kuan saw that Su Zihong was sweating profusely as if he couldn't move because of the technique he was casting. Lu Kuan narrowed his eyes and his magic power surged. 2 fire hammers rushed out and blocked the golden light's path. But they were immediately sent flying by the golden light, and cracks appeared on the magic tools. Lu Kuan's face paled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He staggered and fell to the ground. Just as Su Zihong was about to be hit by the golden light, a black light curtain appeared around Su Zihong. The incomparably sharp golden light bombarded the black light curtain, creating a fierce collision. After a short while, the golden light completely dissipated. Next to Su Zihong, a fat man wearing a black robe appeared. This man's body surged with the mana of the intermediate stage of the core formation stage. However, Lu Kuan could faintly sense that this man's aura was not as simple as that of the core formation stage. The fat man glanced at Lu Kuan, who was lying on the ground, and threw a talisman at him. "Kid, this thick earth origin shield technique talisman? Take it and find a place to hide." "Thank you, martial uncle." Lu Kuan got this talisman. After respectfully thanking him, he immediately rushed to the house with the restriction around 300 meters away. The man who shot out the golden light had a faint smile on his face. His voice came from afar. "I didn't expect the famous Fame Mosey to personally protect him. This disciple with a dark spiritual root is indeed highly valued by your blood-refining sect." The fat man, who was called Fame Mosey, did not pay attention to the other party's words. Demonic light flashed in his hand, and the light that enveloped Su Zihong spread out in a circle. It covered Su Zihong, who was in the middle of refining, along with the soil on the ground. Then, he brought Su Zihong to the center of the city, where Gu Hun and the Fong clan's ancestor were. The man from 7 Fiends sect shook his head and muttered, "Why bother? You are already cornered beasts. Why don't you just stay here obediently and let us kill you?" At this moment, a pitch-black flying dagger flashed in front of the man from the 7 Fiends sect. Its speed was extremely strange. The man's expression changed drastically. The extreme devil old ghost? After all, he was a cultivator of the intermediate stage of the core formation stage. His reaction was not slow at all. He opened his mouth and spat out a round gray iron ball. The ball was densely covered with runes, and a murderous aura rushed towards him. The pitch-black flying dagger hit the gray ball and scattered it into countless gray threads. Then, the flying dagger reversed and avoided the entanglement of the gray threads. With a whoosh, The pitch-black flying dagger sank into the body of the skinny old man. This old man seemed to have appeared out of thin air. His magic power was profound, and he was also a cultivator of the intermediate stage of the core formation stage. Gold Thug, you become much smarter. You actually hid the gray ball in your mouth, the skinny old man said calmly. This cultivator from a Seven Fiends sect called Gold Thug looked at the skinny old man with hatred. Very good. I didn't think that you, the extreme devil old ghost, would secretly protect that kid. The heavens are on my side. This time, I will definitely kill you. The skinny old man glanced towards the northwest and shook his head. Don't think that just because all of you Seven Fiends are here, you can deal with 2 intermediate stage and 2 late stage core formation cultivators. I hope you can defend against my next attack. With that, the skinny old man turned into a streak of black light and charged into the depths of the city. His aura of the intermediate stage, core formation stage, disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. It was as if he had evaporated. Seeing this, Gold Thug's expression was extremely ugly. Gold Thug, don't worry about the extreme devil old ghost. Shuaisha will deal with him. Let's completely activate the Black Fiend formation first. Not far away, a tall young man transmitted his voice to Gold Thug. Gold Thug gritted his teeth and nodded. With that, a formation plate appeared in his hand. Streams of dermic powers were injected into it. Not only him, but the other 6 people surrounding the city also took out similar formation plates. As they cast their dermic powers, a gray cover became darker and darker. The entire city also became dark. Bone Soul had just calmed the chaotic dermic powers in his body when he saw the city being covered by a light screen. It's the Black Fiend formation. His expression was ugly. Fong Lei, Bone Soul, owe you a favor. Old man, you didn't run away on your own. You even came back to inform me. Fong Lei drank a mouthful of gourd water and coughed twice. If this old man was young, I would definitely run away first. But now that I don't have much time left, I might as well let you owe me a favor. Fong Lei looked at the fat figure that had just flown over and Su Zihong, who was shrouded in black light. He continued, the situation isn't that bad. The Supreme Demon and the Fat Demon are also here. We might be able to fight. Bone Soul narrowed his eyes and stared at the Fat Demon. He said coldly, Fat Demon, what are you and the extreme devil old ghost doing? You've been hiding. I didn't even notice you. And as core formation cultivators, you're protecting a foundation establishment kid. Could it be that this kid really has the dark spirit root that Gold Thug mentioned? Although Bone Soul was calming his dermic powers, his divine sense was outside, and he heard Gold Thug's words. The Fat Demon trembled and said casually, this kid is someone that the Great Elder wants to protect. If you have any questions, you can ask the Great Elder. Hearing the Great Elder's name, Gumo's eyes were filled with fear. He paused for a moment and then said, since you're following the Great Elder's orders, you must have some special means. I just used a secret technique, so I can't use the Soul Gathering banner for the time being. I can't use its full strength. Don't hold back in the upcoming battle. The Fat Demon shook his head and said carelessly, although the extreme devil and I have some strength, we have no chance of winning against the 7 demons of the 7 Demon sect. However, our survival methods are not bad. Even if you die, we can survive. Bone Soul was furious. You? Okay, stop arguing. Get ready to fight. Fong Lei said in a low voice. We'll do our best to make our opponents reveal their weaknesses and create opportunities for the extreme devil. Only by killing one of the 7 demons can we survive. Bone Soul took a deep breath. He knew that Fong Lei was right. Although the 7 demons were only in the middle core formation stage, with their secret techniques, they could even fight against nascent soul cultivators. Chapter 655. A dark golden bowl appeared in Gu Hun's hand. He looked at the black light shield behind Fei Mo and said, but then again, how do we deal with this kid? Fei Mo ignored Gu Hun and looked at Fong Lei. He said politely, I'll have to trouble senior apprentice brother Fong. Only senior apprentice brothers, Qianku and Gord, can temporarily store cultivators. Fong Lei shook his walking stick and coughed lightly. Since it's a disciple that the great elder wants to protect, I naturally have no problem with it. However, my gourd can only house a living person for 4 hours. I'm afraid we haven't finished the battle yet. Fei Mo saw several figures flying over. 2 magic treasures the size of watermelons appeared in front of him. He said casually, "There's no other way. We'll stall for as long as we can." A bright light flashed through Fong Lei's turbid eyes, as if he had understood something. He patted the yellow gourd on his walking stick, and a white light shot out from the mouth of the gourd, sucking Su Zihong and the item he was refining into it. "Haha, you 3 guys are in trouble, and you still have the mind to protect this disciple. It seems he is really important to the blood-refining sect. Our 7 Fiends sect didn't waste our efforts." Fong Lei's face was expressionless. He looked at the 6-7 Fiends sect members and asked, "It sounds like the Ouyang family is a trap set by your 7 Fiends sect." "Of course we are," Gold Thug said proudly. But he was interrupted by the tall man next to him. "Humph, old man, you want to stall for time? You're better off being confused ghosts." With that said, the 6-7 evil spirits summoned their magic treasures and attacked the 3 core formation stage cultivators of the blood refining school. In an instant, all kinds of violent energy overflowed and bombarded the city below. Only 6-7 Fiends sect members were fighting with Guhan. The last 7 Fiends sect member was nowhere to be seen. In a house in the northwest of the city, Lu Kuan held a talisman in his left hand and a red hammer in his right hand. His right hand was holding a fiery red sledgehammer, and he looked nervously at the temporary restriction at the door of the house. Other than him, there was also a voluptuous woman in revealing clothes. It was Bai Jia. However, at this moment, Bai Jia no longer had her previous charming posture. Instead, she was leaning against the wall. Her bright eyes were filled with anxiety and panic, making people want to hold her in their arms and cherish her. After a while, Bai Jia said with trembling teeth, "Junior apprentice Brother Zhang, you said the 7 Fiends sect members set up a restriction and sealed the city?" Lu Kuan did not turn his head. He continued looking at the door and said casually, "That's right. When I was escaping, I heard the other disciples talking about the 7 demons of the 7 demons sect." Bai Jie became more frightened. "Fiends, fiends, fiends, you didn't hear that right." Lu Kuan pointed at the restriction at the door and said, "They seem to be fighting with our martial uncles. You can go out and take a look." Bai Jie took 2 steps back. Her eyes were a bit sluggish. If the core formation realm enemy is the 7 evil spirits, martial uncles most likely won't be a match for them. Only death awaits us. Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with golden light. He secretly used his golden eyes to observe the battle outside. Hearing Bai Jie's words, he couldn't help but turn around. "Senior apprentice Sister Bai, there are 2 late core formation stage martial uncles who came with us. Plus, there's Fei Mo martial uncle. It's not certain who will win." Bai Jie looked at Zhang Yang's fearless face and felt envious of his ignorance. She took a deep breath and calmed the fear in her heart. She said slowly, "Junior apprentice brother, have you heard of the 7 Fiends Demon Lord?" Lu Kuan said matter-of-factly, "Of course I have. How could I not have heard of the 7 Fiends sect's famous nascent soul stage cultivators?" It said that although the 7 of them are only early nascent soul stage cultivators, they could defeat late nascent soul stage cultivators if they work together. Are the 7 Fiends related to the 7 Fiends Demon Lord? Bai Jie said that's right. The 7 Fiends Demon Lord is the next 7 Fiends Demon Lord. Doesn't that mean the 7 of them are future nascent soul stage cultivators? Bai Jie shook her head and said, "It's not that easy to enter the nascent soul stage. However, every generation of the 7 Fiends sect has a 7 Fiends Demon Lord and a late nascent soul stage cultivator. I don't know if there's some kind of secret technique." Bai Jie slapped her forehead. "You've changed the topic. In terms of cultivation, it's not that bad. The 7 Fiends Demon Lord's joint attack technique is terrifying." Lu Kuan was enlightened. He mumbled, "The Seven Fiends Demon Lord can defeat late nascent soul stage cultivators with his early nascent soul stage cultivation. The Seven Fiends Demon Lord can defeat early nascent soul stage cultivators with their mid-core formation stage cultivation." Bai Jie looked at the restriction at the door nervously and said, "That's right. Although the two uncles are both late core formation stage cultivators, they are still far from nascent soul stage cultivators. If the Seven Fiends Demon Lord can defeat early nascent soul stage cultivators, it's easy for them to defeat the uncles." Bai Jie suddenly raised her eyebrows and asked in confusion, "That's right. Junior Martial Brother Zhang, how did you know that the Seven Fiends Demon Lord are all in the middle core formation stage?" Lu Kuan said calmly, "Of course I heard it from Martial Uncle Fei Mo. Look, he even gave me a talisman with the thick earth essence shield technique. It might even save my life." As he spoke, Lu Kuan proudly showed the talisman in his hand. Thick earth essence shield technique. It can block a casual attack from a core formation stage cultivator. Bai Jie's eyes lit up. She couldn't help but lean towards Lu Kuan and say in a soft voice, "Junior Martial Brother, we're living under the same roof. You won't abandon me, right?" Lu Kuan quickly turned his head and took a step back. He said with a frightened expression, "Senior Martial Sister, please spare me. I have to tighten my divine sense at all times when I'm in the same room with you. I don't want to end up like those two guys." As he spoke, Lu Kuan pointed at the two dried corpses in the corner of the room. Bai Jie's expression was slightly embarrassed. She threw out two fireballs and burned the dried corpses in the corner to ashes. She let out a hollow laugh, and her tone returned to normal. "Junior Martial Brother, the thick earth essence shield technique's defensive area isn't small. It's more than enough to cover the two of us." Lu Kuan waved his hand. "Senior Martial Sister, you're the one who brought me into the sect. If there's any danger, the thick earth essence shield technique will naturally cover you." Bai Jie was overjoyed and quickly thanked him. She looked at Lu Kuan's fierce-looking face with a smile. Even the scar on his face was much more pleasing to the eye. Lu Kuan cautiously looked outside and said, "Senior Martial Sister, what other information do you know about the Seven Fiends? Why don't you tell me everything?" Bai Jie heard the faint sounds of battle outside and moved closer to Lu Kuan. She leaned her back against the wall and crossed her slender and fair legs as she sat on the ground. She slowly said, "What's the matter? Actually, Junior Martial Brother can find all the information about the Seven Fiends sect in the scripture cave in the sect. It's very detailed. The down names of the Seven Fiends are fixed. They are Gold Fiend, Wood Fiend, Water Fiend, Fire Fiend, Earth Fiend, Soul Fiend, and Blood Fiend. The top 5 seem to require the aptitude of dual spirit roots or above. Rumor has it that a few of the Seven Fiends even have heavenly spirit roots. As for the aptitude requirements of the Soul Fiend and Blood Fiend, I'm not sure. Only those who meet the requirements can cultivate the Seven Fiends' true devil technique. By relying on the Seven Fiends' true devil technique, they can cooperate with each other and unleash a huge joint attack." Lu Kuan listened to Bai Jie's description while observing the battle outside. He suddenly realized that there were only 6 Seven Fiends who had joined the battle outside. They were still suppressing Bone Soul and the other 2. He thought to himself, "Looks like it's really the Seven Fiends." He asked again, "If there are only 6 of them, will the Seven Fiends not be able to unleash their joint attack?" Bai Jie was slightly surprised and then said, "According to the sect's records, the more the Seven Fiends have, the more powerful their joint attack will be. If 7 of them can deal with a nascent soul cultivator, then the remaining 6 should be weaker." Lu Kuan was puzzled. Why isn't one of the Seven Fiends participating in the battle? That's right, after I left, another core formation cultivator who was protecting Su Zihong also appeared. However, he quickly hid in the city. It seems that the Seven Fiends want to capture him. Then Lu Kuan's expression suddenly changed. "Oh no, when the Seven Fiends are searching, they will definitely kill the Foundation establishment disciples of the blood-refining sect. Chapter 656. Through the restriction, Lu Kuan saw a girl with short hair and a round face. She was floating above a collapsed building not far away. She looked harmless and very cute. She wore a long black dress and a long whip that emitted a gray light circled around her petite body. Lu Kuan clearly saw that it was this long whip that had just shot out a magical weapon light that had shattered the house and easily killed the 2 Foundation establishment disciples of the blood refining sect. After destroying the building, the girl's eyes emitted a gray light. She looked around the buildings in the city, and a sweet child's voice came out from her mouth. Old devil GMO, there's no need to hide. You should know that my Shui Sha's eye technique can completely capture your escape light. I noticed you the moment you appeared and found that your escape light didn't go far and landed in this area. After the girl finished speaking, she saw that there was no reaction nearby. She coldly snorted and said with her childish voice full of killing intent, "Wait until I flatten this area. I don't believe you won't come out." The girl's childish voice contained magic power. Even the restriction here couldn't block it. All the blood refining sect disciples hiding nearby heard it. Of course, Bai Jia also heard it. She muttered the 2 words Shui Sha with a dull expression. Shui Sha. It's really the 7 evil spirits. Shui Sha, who was 100 feet away, seemed to have sensed something. His gray eyes looked towards Lu Kuan's building. Lu Kuan immediately lowered his head. He was furious. Damn it, this Shui Sha wants to flatten the nearby buildings and attack me. That's going to be troublesome. Is talisman in my hand? At most, it can block the attack of a core formation cultivator's magic treasure. Is he going to force me to make a move? If that's the case, my efforts to infiltrate the blood refining sect will be wasted. Plus, I don't have enough combat power right now. I can deal with a core formation intermediate stage cultivator, but there are so many core formation cultivators outside. I don't have the confidence to escape. Just as Lu Kuan was worried, Bai Jia's soft and tender body leaned against him. She said with a pitiful voice, "Junior Marshal Brother Zhang, what should we do? Shui Sha wants to flatten us. Junior Marshal Brother, why don't you use that talisman? Give it to me." Senior Marshal Sister's magic power is profound. It can unleash even greater power. As she spoke, Bai Jia's delicate little hand touched Lu Kuan's arm. Lu Kuan ignored Bai Jia. His expression suddenly changed, and with a flash of light in his hand, he activated the Earth Primary Shield technique. A round yellow shield enveloped Lu Kuan and the others. Just as he finished doing all this, a surge of spiritual pressure appeared above their house. With a rumble, the restriction outside the house was directly shattered. Gray spiritual light descended from the sky and directly bombarded the thick Earth Origin Shield technique. The surging power caused the thick shield to dim by more than half. Yeah, there's actually a top-notch talisman, body protection. The disciples of the blood refining sect are filthy rich, aren't they? The young child's voice sounded again with a hint of surprise. Shui Sha's figure appeared in front of Lu Kuan's shield that was about to shatter and clicked her tongue. Although she had only used the spiritual light of her magic treasure to shatter the house's restriction, the remaining power wasn't much. However, it wasn't something a Foundation establishment cultivator could resist. Bai Jia was so frightened by the core formation cultivator's pressure that she fell to the ground. Lu Kuan was half kneeling with a heavy expression. His hands gradually clenched into fists and the muscles on his legs began to tighten. His spiritual sense locked onto the purple-black staff in his storage pouch. Looking at the situation, it seemed he had no choice but to make a move. At such a close distance, with the power of a body cultivator, he might be able to kill them in one strike. Shui Sha's hand flashed with spiritual light, and the gray whip around her body became taut. She lashed out at Lu Kuan and Bai Jia's Earth Origin Shield technique. The pressure of a mid-core formation cultivator's magic treasure was enough to make one's heart palpitate even through the defensive shield. Suddenly, Lu Kuan's golden eyes seemed to have discovered something. He loosened his fists and gave up on the idea of personally making a move. He threw out 7 or 8 magic tools, including 2 fire hammers. When Bai Jia saw this, Her eyes flashed with extreme reluctance. She had just obtained a top-notch secret technique and hadn't used it to its full potential yet. She didn't want to give it up. Thus, Baijia also grabbed her storage pouch and threw out a pile of talismans. They were all mid-grade talismans. They were both offensive and defensive talismans. She wanted to share the power of a core formation cultivator. With a boom, the Earth Origin Shield technique was broken. Many talismans, the spell, and Lu Kuan's pair of fire hammers were also destroyed by the whip magic treasure. In the end, the remaining power of the magic treasure bombarded Lu Kuan and Baijia's magic power shields, sending them flying hundreds of feet away. The Foundation Establishment Cultivator's shield was broken, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Extreme Devil, Old Devil. Shueisha's expression suddenly changed. The black dress around her body was suddenly torn to shreds, turning into a huge black shield that enveloped her body. A pitch-black flying knife seemed to appear out of thin air and hit the black shield, creating a gap. However, it was immediately entangled by the returning gray whip. Shueisha, who was inside the shield, had a look of lingering fear. Just as she activated her magic treasure, the extreme devil suddenly attacked with the flying knife magic treasure that didn't have any fluctuations. Fortunately, Shueisha didn't let down her guard. She was always on guard. Previously, she only used a small portion of her magic treasure's power to attack. That was why she activated her defense at the crucial moment and blocked the sneak attack. You're indeed cunning, old devil. However, as long as you show yourself, you won't be able to hide and escape. Although my escape technique isn't as good as yours, this city is too small. I won't lose you. Shueisha spat out a mouthful of turbid air. She looked at the skinny old man with a serious expression. The extreme devil floated about 100 feet away. He expressionlessly controlled the flying knife to attack the gray whip. Shueisha's whip magic treasure emitted several gray threads from time to time. In addition to the flexible whip, it tried to entangle the flying knife. The extreme devil slowly said, "You seven fiends really think highly of this old man. You'd rather waste the super strong fighting power of the seven of you to entangle me." Shueisha revealed a trace of fear and said, "In the kingdom of Qi, who doesn't know how difficult it is to deal with you, the extreme devil? If the seven of us join forces, we can quickly end the battle. However, our divine senses will decrease. You might succeed in your sneak attack. Also, who doesn't know about your ability to escape? Even with our seven fiends formation, you can still escape with your life. We didn't expect that the blood-refining sect would send you to protect that little fellow with a dark spiritual root." The extreme devil raised his eyebrows. He noticed that the speed of the whip had decreased. It was only entangling his flying knife. It didn't have the intention of seeking instant success like before. He immediately understood the other party's intention. He said indifferently, "You seven fiends are all out. Is it to deal with the Foundation establishment brat that this old man is protecting?" When Shueisha saw that the extreme devil started to ask questions, she knew that he had no intention of fighting. She was also happy to stall for time. The six fiends could also deal with the enemy if they joined forces. She said, "You should know that this brat has a dark spiritual root." The extreme devil raised his eyebrows. "Even if he has a dark spiritual root, it's not worth all seven of you to come out. The Ouyang family seems to be your bait." A black light flashed outside Shueisha's body. She once again wore a black dress that shone with spiritual light. She coldly said, "A dark spiritual root isn't worth our effort. However, we must eliminate someone with a dark spiritual root who cultivates the blood demon technique. Old Fiend Pang has a dark spiritual root. After entering the late nascent soul stage with the blood demon technique, his strength is almost equivalent to two great cultivators. The amplification of the blood demon technique by the dark spiritual root is far greater than other techniques. This brat must be killed in the cradle." The extreme devil's eyes flashed. He also knew that the dark spiritual root could amplify demonic techniques. However, He didn't expect it to amplify the blood demon technique even more. He also didn't know that not only did the Great Elder have a dark spiritual root, he could actually match two existences of the same level. Didn't that mean that in a one-on-one battle, the Great Elder could completely kill other great cultivators? Chapter 657. Shueisha clenched his teeth and said, "We, the Seven Fiends sect, will not let a second old Devil Pang appear. With you and Fei Mo, who are both in the intermediate stage of the completion core stage, we are even more certain that this brat is the next successor of old Devil Pang." The Supreme Devil glanced at the gray light curtain outside the city and frowned. "What I don't understand is that the Seven Fiends array needs to be set up in advance. The Ouyang clan is undoubtedly your pawn, but why are you so confident that this disciple with the dark spirit root will come here?" Shueisha glanced at the three people from the blood refining sect who were in imminent danger and smiled. "Do you know why the blood refining sect wants to destroy the Ouyang clan?" The Supreme Devil casually controlled the flying dagger magic weapon as if he didn't care about the danger of his fellow disciples. He replied, "I heard that a traitor of our sect was ordered by the Ouyang clan to steal an important pill recipe. He touched the bottom line, so we naturally want to destroy his clan." Shueisha said, "This pill recipe is the recipe for the blood spirit pill." The Supreme Devil raised his eyebrows. "Blood spirit pill? As far as I know, the blood spirit pill is only used for the blood demon technique. What use does the Ouyang clan have for it?" Shueisha smiled mysteriously. "It seems you don't know that the blood spirit pill has been around since ancient times. Its biggest use was to activate the demon marrow body." The Supreme Devil's pupils shrank. The demon marrow body, the legendary top physique that allows one to cultivate all kinds of demonic techniques? Yes, the demon marrow body is an invisible physique. Before it appears, it has almost no effect. There are only two ways to activate it. Either soak in the true demon pool or take the blood spirit pill. Hearing this, the Supreme Devil suddenly remembered Elder Qian's instructions before they left. He and Fei Mo had to ensure that Su Zihong successfully refined the corpse of an Ouyang clan disciple. No matter what happened, they had to wait until the spell was cast. Now, combined with Shueisha's words, the Supreme Devil quickly reacted. "The Ouyang clan wants the blood spirit pill. The elders of our sect can naturally infer that the Ouyang clan has the demon marrow body. The demon marrow body is your bait." Then he asked doubtfully, "But what does the demon marrow body have to do with the dark spirit root?" Shueisha chuckled. "Of course, it has nothing to do with the dark spiritual root. It has something to do with the blood demon technique. The devil marrow body is the best elixir for those who cultivate the first three layers of the blood demon art. As long as you refine and absorb it, your cultivation speed will increase dramatically. Therefore, we are certain that old Devil Pang will definitely arrange for this disciple with dark spiritual roots to come over." 4 Foundation Establishment Disciples. Your blood refining sect will at most arrange for core formation cultivators to protect them. When the Supreme Devil heard this, his small eyes were filled with shock. "Your Seven Fiends sect actually understands the characteristics of the blood demon arts so well that you're willing to sacrifice your devil marrow body." Shueisha covered his mouth and laughed. "Our sect naturally has done some research on the blood demon technique. As for that Ouyang clan disciple, even if he has activated the devil marrow physique, he only has 4 spirit veins aptitude and is unable to cultivate our sect's devil Dao divine arts. Since it can't be used by our sect, we can't let others benefit from it. We might as well use it as bait to catch the big fish of your blood refining sect." Shueisha's eyes narrowed and his childish voice was filled with joy. "I didn't expect that in addition to the target, we would also be able to eliminate several core formation cultivators of the blood refining sect. Our sect only lost a dispensable chess piece like the Ouyang clan. This is a good deal. With you dead, we will have one less opponent in the Yuan sect's secret territory 20 years later." The Supreme Devil's expression was somewhat complicated. He didn't expect the Seven Fiends sect to set such a big trap for a Foundation establishment disciple. They even managed to encircle several core formation cultivators. The Seven Fiends sect clearly knew that once Ma Fei agreed to the Ouyang clan's request, he would activate the Oath Stone. However, they still deliberately allowed the Ouyang clan to do so. They wanted the Blood Refining sect to investigate the Ouyang clan. The Blood Refining sect followed the vine to the melon and quickly determined that the Ouyang clan had the Devil Marrow physique. The nascent soul elders in the sect naturally knew that the Devil Marrow physique was an opportunity for Blood Demon Arts cultivators. Therefore, they arranged for Su Zihong, who had the most potential, to follow the group. The Supreme Devil and Fei Mo were secretly sent to protect him. The goal was to allow Su Zihong to smoothly refine the Devil Marrow physique and thus speed up his cultivation of the Blood Demon Arts. However, they didn't expect that the Ouyang clan's Devil Marrow physique was a bait set by the Seven Fiends sect. The city here had long been secretly set up by the Seven Fiends formation. The timing of the Seven Fiends sect's ambush was also very subtle. It was when Gu Hun was refining the mid-core formation Divine Soul. Gu Hun's technique was interrupted, and he couldn't use the Luo Soul Banner. He couldn't summon the mid-core formation Evil Ghost either. His strength was greatly reduced. Therefore, the 6-7 Fiends sect members completely suppressed the Fei Mo, Feng Lei, and Gu Hun. The Supreme Devil glanced at the battle in the sky again and said faintly, "The 7 Fiends sect is indeed powerful. We admit defeat. However, Shueisha, are you so sure that I won't go all out and kill you first?" Shueisha said cautiously, "Supreme Devil, your senior and junior apprentice brothers have all unleashed their gold core source power. They won't be able to hold on for long. If you waste a lot of your FA Li here, I'm afraid you won't be able to escape from the Seven Fiends formation." The Supreme Devil shook his head and revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. "The Seven Fiends sect underestimates my blood refining sect too much. I don't know if you've ever thought about why my sect didn't directly send experts to kidnap the Devil Marrow physique. Could it be that we really want to let that brat gain experience?" Shueisha's mouth opened slightly. He faintly thought of a possibility, and his face became extremely pale. At this moment, Supreme Devil's black throwing knife that was tangled with the gray whip returned and entered his body. Then, his withered body suddenly swelled and became sturdy. The old man's face was like a withered tree that had been rejuvenated. He turned into a middle-aged man in his 30s. His aura suddenly increased, and he was no weaker than a late core formation cultivator. He reached out with his right hand, and 3 pitch black throwing knives appeared. Each one was exactly the same as the previous one. The 3 throwing knives slowly rotated, and a murderous intent floated in the air. When Shueisha saw the 3 flying daggers, she immediately came back to her senses. She withdrew her whip and screamed, "Extreme Devil, you're crazy. You directly used the Xianming 3 extreme blades. Aren't you afraid that your magic power will be greatly damaged and you'll die here?" The younger Supreme Devil didn't speak. The demonic energy in his body became even more turbulent. The 3 throwing knives circled around him before entering his body and shooting out from his hand. The throwing knives that came out from the Supreme Devil's body glowed with black light and almost formed a line. They were like black lightning that rushed towards the enemy in front of him. Shueisha's reaction was very fast. When the Supreme Devil made his move, she immediately split the gray whip into more than 30 pieces. They circled around her body and emitted a dense gray light. They weaved into an egg-shaped shield and protected her inside. Dang, dang, dang. Just as she finished doing all this, the 3 throwing knives carried the power of a peak mid-stage core formation cultivator and bombarded the whip's defense. Unlike the previous attacks, the flying dagger returned to Supreme Devil's body after hitting its target. Then, it shot out from Supreme Devil's right hand. Just like that, the 3 throwing knives flew back and forth between the Supreme Devil and Shueisha. Shueisha was suppressed by such a powerful attack and couldn't dodge. She couldn't use any other methods and could only defend. As the throwing knives continued to attack, the Grey Whip's defensive spirit light was strong but quickly dissipated. Shueisha's eyes flashed with anger. She silently chanted, and dense black mist poured out from her body to replenish the defensive spirit light. The air was filled with a demonic aura. Shueisha coldly said, "Supreme Devil, my Shueisha's spirit light specializes in corrupting magic treasures. If you have the ability, continue attacking." The middle-aged Supreme Devil didn't move at all. The corner of his mouth curled up, and he revealed an evil intent. "Shueisha, you probably haven't seen the true power of my mysterious underworld 3 extreme blades. The more these 3 throwing knives circulate in my body, the more compatible they become. Their power will gradually increase." Shueisha probed with his divine sense and discovered that with the successive attacks of the 3 flying daggers, the black light gradually connected into a piece, faintly showing signs of forming a flying dagger. Carefully sensing, the power of each attack was getting stronger and stronger. The next moment, the 3 throwing knives came out of the Supreme Devil's body, and they had fused into one. Compared to before, this throwing knife had shrunk by more than half. The black light on it was very deep, as if it was absorbing the surrounding air. The pressure on it made Shueisha's heart tremble. Chapter 658. Just as Shueisha was in danger, a faint whistling sound came from the distance. A round shield the size of a well flew over from the battlefield in the sky. However, it was too far away and couldn't make it in time. Supreme Demon revealed a mocking expression. "Shueisha, you underestimate me too much. How can a mere 7 demons be my opponent? Talking with you for so long was just to stall for time." The strongest form of the Xianming 3 extreme blades has killed 3 late-stage core formation cultivators. Dying to it isn't a disgrace to the name of the 7 demons. As he spoke, the flying blade pierced through Shueisha's magic treasure defense. The thick layer of light was pierced through like it was nothing. There was a shrill scream, and the Xianming 3 extreme blades flew out. They turned back into 3 flying blades and entered Supreme Demon's body. Supreme Demon's face was a bit pale. He raised his brow as if he sensed something. He looked at Shueisha in shock. "You actually have the Calamity Substitution spell." As he spoke, Shueisha's shield shattered, revealing a woman with a pale face. Her left arm was gone, and most of her aura had dissipated. The situation was critical. Shueisha didn't expect Supreme Demon's Xianming 3 extreme blades to be so terrifying. If she hadn't used a secret technique to block the attack with her arm, she would have died. Even if she survived, her vitality would be greatly damaged, and she wouldn't be able to resist. Just then, the round shield finally arrived before Shueisha and protected her. It released a dense earth attribute aura. Its defense was clearly very high. Supreme Demon frowned. "Kue Earth Shield, Earth Demon." It turned out that a tall man was flying over from a distance. It was Earth Demon of the 7 demons. He was proficient in earth attribute techniques, and his magic treasure was the Kue Earth Shield. Supreme Demon sighed regretfully. He had forcefully attacked Shueisha's blood energy. Although the Xianming 3 extreme blades were powerful, the blood energy wasn't normal either. It damaged its spirituality. Adding on the fact that Earth Demon had arrived, he had lost the chance to kill Shueisha. He couldn't maintain this state for too long, so he had to hurry and help his fellow sect members. Shueisha's vitality was greatly damaged. The 7 demons could only team up with 6 people at most. He had achieved his goal. When Shueisha saw Earthsha arrive, her expression relaxed, and she fainted. With her cultivation, it was too strenuous for her to use such a life-saving secret technique. The Supreme Devil silently glanced at them and did not attack again. He turned into a black streak of light and shot towards the battlefield in the sky. The Supreme Devil, who had transformed into a middle-aged man, had an aura that was almost at the late core formation stage. His speed was even faster, and in the blink of an eye, he was already near the battlefield in the sky. Previously, the mysterious underworld Three Extreme Blades had a frightening aura. The 5-7 evil spirits in the sky had naturally observed this scene and were extremely fearful of the extreme devil. When they saw him shooting over, their movements paused. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Fei Mo and the others activated their magic weapons with all their might, forcing the 5 evils to retreat, allowing the extreme devil's escape light to meet with them smoothly. When the 5 fiends saw this, they stopped instead. Earth Fiend had gone to rescue Blood Fiend. They only had 5 people working together, so their strength had dropped a little. On the other hand, their opponents were now 4 people, and there was an additional Supreme Demon with astonishing attack power. They simply stopped and waited for Earth Fiend to return. In addition, Fei Mo and the other 2 had all activated the origin power of their Jindan. After the time passed, they would enter a weakened state. Stalling for time was advantageous for them. Fei Mo was sweating profusely. His robe was already soaked. This was the strange part of his cultivation method. The more his spiritual power surged, the more he sweated. When he saw the Supreme Devil come over, he became excited and transmitted his voice. "Supreme Devil, you used the Supreme Devil True Body and the mysterious underworld 3 Extreme Blades. What about Blood Fiend?" The Supreme Devil transmitted his voice. She didn't die. However, her vitality was greatly damaged. At most, she can only use the 6 evils together. She can't use the power of the nascent soul stage. On the side, Fong Lei was fine. He had some understanding of the Supreme Devil's true strength and was not particularly shocked. However, when he saw Fei Mo's joy and the Supreme Devil's calmness, he suddenly thought of something and his eyes were filled with anticipation. It seemed that this was the first time Gu Mo had seen the Supreme Devil's strongest state. Fear appeared in his eyes. The power of the mysterious underworld 3 Extreme Blades just now shocked him greatly. After hearing the Supreme Devil's words, the fat on Fei Mo's face trembled. He licked his lips and transmitted his voice to everyone. I didn't think we would catch such a big fish as the 7 evils. Senior Apprentice Brother Fong, an hour has passed. You can let Su Zihong out now. Fong Lei's expression was strange. We are all injured now. Junior Apprentice Brother Supreme Devil can't maintain his true body for too long. What's the use of letting this kid out? The Supreme Devil transmitted his voice. Senior Apprentice Brother Fong, don't worry. Elder Qian told me and Fei Mo that Su Zihong's magic item can completely turn the situation around. Fong Lei remembered that this kid was someone the Grand Elder wanted to protect. Thus, he nodded and patted the gourd on his waist. There was a flash of spiritual light, and Su Zihong appeared in front of everyone with a dazed expression. Fei Mo hurriedly said, "Kid, quickly take out the bloodthirsty bead." Su Zihong was stunned. Feeling the unfathomable spiritual power of these people, he obediently took out the red bead in his hand. At this time, the bloodthirsty bead had become ordinary. However, under the careful inspection of the completion stage cultivators, their spiritual consciousness could vaguely feel a sense of oppression. Seeing this, the Supreme Devil immediately took out a black bead of the same size. He formed a seal and threw it towards the bloodthirsty bead. After a while, the Earth Evils returned to the air with an ugly expression. He glared at the Supreme Devil. He had just stabilized the Blood Evil's injuries and knew that they were very serious. He had temporarily lost his ability to fight. Supreme Devil, you are courting death. When your secret technique disappears, you won't be able to escape. Only death awaits you. The corner of the Supreme Devil's lips curled up. Looking at the furious Earth Evils, his spiritual energy decreased instead of increasing. His body also became haggard. At this time, he had turned back into a skinny old man. Earth Evils, I should say that you are the ones who will die. As he finished speaking, an illusory figure suddenly appeared on the bloodthirsty bead behind him. It swallowed the black bead in one gulp. This was a bald, middle-aged man. His eyes were crimson red. His entire body emitted the aura of a superior. All the completion stage cultivators nearby felt an invisible pressure that made it hard for them to breathe. Seeing this figure, Guhan was shocked. Grand Elder. The bald, middle-aged man's illusory figure was the Grand Elder of the blood-refining sect, Old Devil Pang. He looked around and laughed. Supreme Devil, you are not bad. You didn't waste my demonic seed bead. As expected, the Seven Evils sect is behind this. The Earth Evil's pupil shrunk. He screamed, not good. It's Old Devil Pang's demonic seed splitting technique. Run. Then, he suppressed the fear in his heart and turned into a ray of light with the others. They shot toward the distance. Since I've encountered you, it's too late to leave. Then Old Devil Pang's illusory figure looked at Fong Lei and said, Little Fong, your lifespan is almost up. Lend his body to me. If you don't die after this, go to the treasury and get a Longyan pill. Fong Lei was overjoyed. He agreed without hesitation. He only had 3 years left in his lifespan. The Longyan pill could extend his lifespan by 20 years. He had profited greatly. Thus, Old Devil Pang's illusory figure entered Fong Lei's body. A surge of nascent soul cultivators aura rose. Fong Lei's haggard body gradually straightened. His eyes also turned red. Old Devil Pang's illusory figure used his body to display the power of a nascent soul cultivator. He said coldly, Capture the blood fiend below. I will go and kill the Seven Evils. Chapter 659. Fei Mo, GMO, and Guhan were completely relieved when they saw their Grand Elder's avatar. With his peak late nascent soul stage cultivation, even if he only carried a small part of his spiritual sense, Fong Lei would still be stronger than a normal early nascent soul stage cultivator. Guhan watched as their Grand Elder easily made a hole in the seven demon formation and disappeared from sight. He couldn't help but look at GMO and asked hesitantly, Junior brother GMO, that was the demon planting orb? GMO swallowed a white pill and exhaled. That's right. It was our sect's demon planting orb. Elder Qian gave it to me before. I thought it was Elder Qian's nascent soul stage spiritual power, but I didn't expect it to be Grand Elders. And he even split a part of his spiritual sense and placed it in the blood-sucking orb. GMO's tone was filled with disbelief. Grand Elder status was such that even a normal nascent soul stage cultivator would treat him with respect. Such a powerful cultivator would actually spend a lot of effort to split a part of his spiritual sense and place it on a kid at the early nascent soul stage. Even if this person was a disciple with a dark spiritual root, it wasn't worth it. GMO couldn't understand. He shook his head. Okay, let's follow Grand Elder's orders and capture Shueisha alive while he's injured. With that, the Supreme Demon took the lead and flew down. Fei Mo continued to wrap Su Zihong in his spiritual light and followed closely behind with Guhan. Guhan looked at the dazed Su Zihong in the spiritual light and revealed a look of surprise. The spiritual sense of a late nascent soul stage cultivator could cover an area of more than 20 miles. Even though he was fighting, he still heard GMO and Shueisha's words. Knowing that this kid had a dark spiritual root and cultivated the blood demon technique, Grand Elder didn't hesitate to use a part of his spiritual sense to protect him. It was clear how much he valued this kid. Even though Su Zihong was only at the early nascent soul stage, he had a dark spiritual root and cultivated the devil marrow body. With the protection of a late nascent soul stage cultivator like Old Demon Pang, it was almost certain that he would enter the core formation stage with the blood demon technique. However, Bone Soul had the same doubts as the Supreme Demon. According to his understanding of the Great Elder, it was unlikely that he would waste his energy on low-level disciples. What the Great Elder was pursuing now was how to break through the bottleneck and enter the legendary soul formation stage. Could it be that the Great Elder specially supported this successor to prevent any accidents from occurring during the breakthrough, which would cause the sect's strength to decrease greatly? Or is it because he wants to plot against the Seven Fiends sect? The Bone Soul thought for a moment and shook its head. Forget it. First Elder's thoughts are not something that I can fathom. I want to prepare for the Yuan School's secret territory 20 years later. If I can get that thing inside, my chances of advancing to the Yuanying stage will increase by 10 to 20%. As the three of them pondered, they quickly flew to the northwest of the city and landed next to a pile of ruins. Shueisha leaned against a wall and sat cross-legged. A simple protective array was set up around his body. At this time, his eyes were wide open, and he gritted his teeth as he looked at the people coming over. After using the calamity substitution technique, Shueisha's spiritual power was in a state of exhaustion. At this time, he had only recovered a little. He had no power to resist at all. A Xianming sword appeared in the supreme demon's hand. Black light flashed and easily broke the protective array. Several black demonic lights entered Shueisha's body and sealed her Jindan. Then, Fei Mo waved his hand and stripped Shueisha's robe and storage pouch clean, revealing her petite white body. Then he took out 3 talismans and stuck them on Shueisha's forehead, chest, and lower abdomen. Fei Mo and the other 2 were core formation cultivators who had cultivated for hundreds of years. They didn't cultivate demonic arts that harvested yin to replenish yang. Naturally, they had no interest in Shueisha's body. Finally, Bone Soul took out a gray cloth that was filled with yin qi and wrapped it around Shueisha's body. With these 3 methods, even if Shueisha's spiritual power recovered, she wouldn't be able to escape. Fei Mo wiped away his sweat and collapsed on the ground. He said weakly, "Luckily, it ended quickly. I didn't overdraft too much of my origin energy. I'll meditate first." Then, Fei Mo took out a small black stone that was emitting demonic qi. He closed his eyes and began to circulate his spiritual power. GMO also took a breath and closed his eyes to refine the pill he swallowed. He was in the best state of the group, but the Supreme Demon True Body also consumed some of his energy. Also, the Xianming sword in his body was contaminated with Shueisha's spiritual power. He needed to deal with it quickly. As for Guhan, he took out a jade bottle. Gray smoke appeared, and 2 demonic spirits appeared before him. Each of them emitted the energy of a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Only then did Guhan calm down and adjust her spiritual power. As for Su Zihong, although he didn't know what happened in the middle, he knew he was safe now. He revealed an excited expression and felt the changes in his body. Before, he was in a sealed space and refined the demonic essence body into a ball of black liquid. He swallowed it directly, and it flowed in his blood. Su Zihong faintly felt that his blood had started to transform. After a while, several foundation establishment cultivators who were lucky enough to survive cautiously emerged from their hiding places. When they discovered that the core formation cultivators had disappeared, they all revealed expressions of relief. In the battle between the core formation cultivators, there were very few foundation establishment cultivators who survived. Aside from few who were killed by the shockwaves of the battle, most of them were killed by the Shueisha. At this time, not far from Fei Mo and the other 2, a burly man with a scar on his face slowly got up. His spiritual power was very weak, as if he was heavily injured. It was Zhang Yang. He rejoiced and found it hard to believe that he was still alive. Cough, cough. I didn't think Zhang Yang would be so lucky. I actually survived the attack of a core formation cultivator. Then he saw the 3 core formation cultivators a few hundred feet away. He endured the discomfort in his body and bowed. He slowly retreated 100 feet and took out a pill to heal himself. Not long after, Bai Jie, who was lying not far behind Zhang Yang, let out a groan and opened her eyes in a daze. An hour later, the light screen of the 7 Fiends formation began to shake violently. Accompanied by a huge pressure, the 7 Fiends formation broke apart. Feng Lei, who was possessed by Old Devil Pang, appeared outside the city. He turned into a ray of light and landed in front of the Supreme Devil and the others. "Greetings, Grand Elder." The Supreme Devil and the others hurriedly stood up and bowed. Old Devil Pang's voice was faint. "I didn't think that the 7 Fiends sect would arrange for a nascent soul cultivator to help. Although I injured him, the 6 core formation cultivators managed to escape. The Seven Fiends formation has been broken. Just in case, quickly retreat. Yes, Grand Elder. Then he waved his hand at Su Zihong. The bloodthirsty bead slowly floated in front of the Supreme Devil. Supreme Devil, go back and give the bloodthirsty bead to Elder Qian. And you, kid, go back and listen to Elder Qian's arrangements. At this moment, Su Zihong also understood who was talking to him. He was obviously flattered. He immediately knelt on the ground and stuttered, Grand Elder, this junior obeys. Old Devil Pang looked deeply at Su Zihong. Then, a human-shaped shadow left Fong Lei's body and entered the bloodthirsty bead. Fong Lei's body quickly shriveled up and became extremely haggard. Cough, cough, I didn't think that these old bones of mine would still be alive. Fong Lei's eyes returned to normal. He looked at the bloodthirsty bead with reverence. He heard what the Grand Elder said in his body. He immediately summoned the Blood Cloud airship. Junior Brother Supreme Devil, your injuries are the lightest. Please search for the remaining disciples. We will leave immediately. Supreme Demon nodded. He turned into a black streak of light and shot out. He circled the city twice and enveloped all the remaining disciples in his light. Chapter 660. A month later, Lu Kuan sat cross-legged in the cave of the blood-refining sect. His body surged with qi and blood. His expression was ferocious and his eyes were red. A brutal aura was faintly discernible. After an unknown period of time, he slowly opened his eyes. The vigorous qi and blood in his body had disappeared. Lu Kuan's face showed some lingering fear. I didn't think that my frequent use of muscle qi would affect the true demon will in the depths of my bones. If the battle in the Ouyang clan had been more intense, the true demon will in my body would have erupted. At that time, even if I hadn't lost my mind, I would have been detected by other core formation cultivators. Lu Kuan's consciousness looked at the purple-black blood crystals in the depths of his bones. These crystals were attached to his bone marrow. Although they were beautiful and bright, they were the biggest hidden danger in his body. Lu Kuan felt that time was running out. After sealing the true demon will, he recalled the mission not long ago and the many changes that had occurred. He sighed. The battle between the demon sects of the Qi Kingdom is really fierce. The two sides went back and forth and schemed against each other. This time, the Seven Fiends sect suffered. Not only was the Blood Fiend Master captured by the blood-refining sect, but the demon marrow body also helped Su Zihong for no reason. The Ouyang clan became a sacrifice. At that time, I felt a dangerous aura on Su Zihong. It should have been old Demon Pang's consciousness. A month ago, in the Ouyang family city, when Shueisha launched an attack with his Dharma treasure, Lu Kuan was almost forced to fight. However, he detected the Supreme Devil's tracks in time and decided to take the enemy's attack. With his physical body, even if he took a direct hit from Shueisha's magic weapon, his flesh would at most be injured. The defense of the Bone Treasure stage bones was amazing. Moreover, he had many talismans and magic weapons to reduce the power of the attack. Therefore, Lu Kuan only suffered a flesh wound. With Fat Demon's talismans as a cover, the Supreme Demon didn't have any doubts about Lu Kuan and Bai Jie's survival. And the reason why Bai Jie was able to survive was also because Lu Kuan's body had blocked most of the remaining power of the Dharma treasure. After Lu Kuan was sent flying, he restrained his soul fluctuations and pretended to be unconscious. Although he was several dozen meters away, with his hearing as a body cultivator, he heard the entire conversation between the Extreme Devil and Shueisha. He understood the whole story of this trip to the Ouyang family, as well as the secret of Su Zihong's dark spirit root and the demon marrow body. Lu Kuan glanced at the sect token in his hand. Using his divine sense, he sensed the 1,400 contribution points inside. He shook his head and said with a strange expression, "In this mission, the Foundation establishment cultivators suffered heavy casualties. Only 10 survived. That guy Fang Zheng also died inside. The number of survivors is small. However, the quest can be considered completed. All the contribution points awarded will be distributed among the remaining cultivators." Each of them will receive over 1,000 contribution points. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. This mission seems to be giving out contribution points, but I didn't expect it to be so dangerous. In the future, when I go on missions in other provinces, I have to be more careful. He glanced at the token and murmured, in addition to the contribution points, there's also information about the Yuan sect. In the conversation between Xue Sha and the Extreme Devil, there was a mention of the Yuan sect secret territory. The two words, Yuan, were both familiar and unfamiliar to Lu Kuan. In the beginning, Lu Kuan found a Yuan jade pendant in the cave of the Land of Death. Later, after killing the Li brothers, he found the same jade pendant in their storage pouches. According to the information Zhu Xiaofeng obtained from the Spirit Transformation sect, the Li brothers most likely obtained it from an ancient cultivator's cave. Coupled with the ancient characters on the jade pendant, Lu Kuan could only speculate that it was a product of ancient times. The next time he encountered the Yuan jade pendant was in the Death Sea Devil Cave, when he was fighting against the demon race. Thanks to the special effect of the Yuan jade pendant, it imprisoned the ancient demon race's soul within it. This allowed Lu Kuan to avoid the danger of being possessed. He also vaguely understood how to use this mysterious treasure. Lu Kuan had once poured magic power into the jade pendant. It was probably at that time that the Yuan jade pendant activated some kind of function. From the frightened tone of the devil's soul, he knew that this was a type of soul-sucking magic tool. If nothing unexpected happened, it should have been specially refined by the Yuan sect that the devil's soul spoke of to specifically target the ancient demon race's soul. From Tian Renjie to the devil's soul's attempt to possess his body, Lu Kuan knew that the devil's soul could easily possess the body of a human cultivator. With this kind of jade pendant, he had a protective talisman. From this, Lu Kuan knew that this Yuan sect was definitely a sect that fought against the ancient demon race. Otherwise, they wouldn't have refined such a special magic tool. After seeing the Yuan jade pendant, the devil soul wouldn't have revealed monstrous hatred. Now, from the mouth of the Qi State's core formation stage cultivator, Lu Kuan couldn't help but have some thoughts about the Yuan sect's secret territory 20 years later. Although the blood devil power was very likely to solve the problem of the true demon intent, it wasn't a sure thing. Since the Yuan sect was able to refine a magic tool that could restrain the devil's soul, it naturally had a set of methods to deal with the ancient demon race. In this so-called Yuan secret territory, he might be able to find a way to restrain the true demon intent. Moreover, inside Lu Kuan's Yuan jade pendant, there was still a living devil's soul trapped inside. If he could eliminate it, then Lu Kuan would feel at ease. This method of eliminating the devil's soul had to start from Yuan school. Su Zihong, that brat, should be the core disciple of the Foundation establishment stage. I helped him in the Ouyang family, so our friendship is not shallow. I will find an opportunity to inquire about the origin of the Yuan school's secret territory from him. In the Ouyang family, Lu Kuan had tried to help Su Zihong resist the attack of the core formation stage. The relationship between the two had become very close. Su Zihong also believed that he was indeed similar to Zhang Yang's benefactor. If it were other disciples of the blood refining sect, it would be impossible for them to help their fellow disciples resist the attack of the core formation stage. But how could he know that Lu Kuan was deliberately putting on a show for the Fat Devil? After the battle of the Ouyang family, the remaining disciples also faintly felt that Su Zihong was specially taken care of by the core formation stage cultivator. They were somewhat in awe of him. With such a disciple who was closely watched by old Devil Pang, Lu Kuan's life in the blood refining sect would be much smoother. The matter of the Yuan sect is secondary. Anyway, there's still 20 years. My priority now is to earn the remaining 3,600 contribution points and enter the Blood Devil Cave as soon as possible to obtain the Blood Devil skill. Lu Kuan calculated in his heart. Next, I will focus on cultivating the art of making talismans. Cultivators with different spiritual roots will basically cultivate this art. After all, different attribute talismans are rare. The price is not low. In the blood refining sect, you can even exchange them for contribution points. After a cultivator entered the core formation stage, their lifespan would be greatly increased. They would choose to study one of their sidelines, refining tools, making talismans, alchemy, or formations. Lu Kuan himself was proficient in the art of refining tools. As for alchemy, it was useless for him as a body cultivator. The only things left were talisman making and formations. With Lu Kuan's proficiency in lightning magic and his core formation stage spiritual sense, it was natural for him to choose talisman making. He had already shown his great talent in casting spells to the blood refining sect. It was reasonable for him to be proficient in talisman making. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan got up and walked out of the cave. He intended to exchange for some talisman making jade slips. Then he would go to the market of the blood refining sect and purchase a large amount of talisman making materials. He would start making the Thunder Spirit talisman from a palm. Chapter 661. For years passed in the blink of an eye. A year ago, the Blood Refining School held another round of disciple recruitment. Ever since the Blood Refining School changed the recruitment period from 20 years to 5 years, the number of Qi refining stage disciples in the Blood Devil Mountain range had increased. Over the past few years, the strength of the Foundation Establishment stage disciples had also been replenished. Of course, the disciples that were openly recruited were all from clans that were related to the Blood Refining School. Some of these clans were top clans like the Chun clan and the Fong clan, while others were small clans with 1 or 2 Foundation Establishment stage cultivators. As for the rogue cultivators who had no foundation, they could only enter the Blood Refining School after passing the Blood Mist Valley trial. Half a year ago, the Blood Mist Valley also held a bloody battle. 3 rogue cultivators stood out and successfully entered the Blood Refining School. On this day, the 3 new rogue cultivators stood in a corner of the mission hall. A soundproof barrier enveloped them. The oldest of the 3 sighed and said, "The Foundation Establishment pills in the Blood Refining School are indeed much better than those sold in the market outside. Unfortunately, our aptitude is too low. Even after taking 1 Foundation Establishment pill, we still couldn't reach the Foundation Establishment stage." Another beautiful young woman bit her red lips and said hatefully, "If it weren't for the Chun family smashing it, our spirit stones would be able to be exchanged for more contribution points. Each of us could have taken 2 pills. Unlike now, we've sold a lot of magic tools and only got 3 Foundation Establishment pills." The youngest young man heard this and became nervous. He looked around and saw that no one was paying attention to them. He whispered, "Second sister, be careful with your words. If we didn't spend money to avoid disaster, I'm afraid we would have been seriously injured by the Chen clan. Maybe even our foundation would be damaged. If that happened, our chances of reaching the Foundation Establishment stage would be even slimmer. Besides, we offended the Chun clan. Even if we reach the Foundation Establishment stage, we won't have a good time." The middle-aged man said in a deep voice, "Well, let's not dwell on the past. As long as we can reach the Foundation Establishment stage, everything will be worth it. I've decided to accept the Death Abyss mission." The young man's face changed. "Big brother, are you talking about the large-scale mission that was released not long ago?" "Yes. Although the basic contribution points for this mission are only 20. If we can capture zombies or bring back some treasures with coldine energy, we can exchange them for more contribution points. Who knows? We might be able to accumulate enough contribution points from this mission." The young woman hesitated. "But, big brother, according to the information we've gathered, there's been a change in the abyss of death this time. There's even a Foundation Establishment stage undead creature that has left the abyss. Wouldn't it be a bit risky for us to rashly accept it?" The middle-aged man sighed and said, "The 3 of us had some lucky chances, so we were able to cultivate to the Great Circle realm. But we're not young anymore. If we wait a few years, the chances of us building our foundation will decrease. It's better to take some risks now. You don't have to worry too much. We're only moving around outside the Death Abyss. We won't go in. Also, look at what this is." As he spoke, the middle-aged man took out 3 talismans that glowed with a purple halo. The young woman's eyes lit up. Could this be the Palm Thunder Talisman? The middle-aged man nodded and said, "That's right, the blood-refining sect is indeed a top sect." Hundreds of Thunder Palm talismans appeared in the pavilion all of a sudden. I happened to pass by at that time, but I didn't have enough contribution points, so I only managed to grab 3. The rest were bought by other Chi refining disciples. Palm Thunder Talisman? It can be said to be the strongest talisman a Chi refining cultivator can use. It has great destructive power against undead creatures. The young woman was pleasantly surprised. This is a large-scale mission. There's a foundation establishment stage, cultivator leading the team. The other disciples who bought the Palm Thunder Talisman must also be doing it for this mission. This way, the danger will be greatly reduced. The young man said excitedly, "Big brother, what are we waiting for?" With a talisman like the Palm Thunder Talisman that can restrain undead creatures, even if we encounter an early-stage foundation establishment stage cultivator, we won't be afraid. The young woman said, "How many contribution points does this Palm Thunder Talisman cost?" "We'll transfer it to Big Brother." The middle-aged man's lips curled up. "There's no hurry. The Palm Thunder Talisman might have other uses. Let's go take the mission first." After saying that, the middle-aged man put away the talisman. He didn't intend to give it to the other 2. He took the lead and walked into the depths of the mission hall. Seeing this, the other 2 couldn't help but look at each other. A flash of uneasiness appeared in their eyes. On the second floor of the mission hall, in a certain cubicle for foundation establishment stage cultivators, 2 men were sitting inside. One of the men was elegant and handsome. He was slowly tasting the spirit tea in front of him. Sitting opposite him was a big man with a fierce face. There was a scar on his face that looked very fierce. He drank the spirit tea in one gulp and smacked his lips. "I say, Brother Sue, your spirit tea doesn't have any taste." The handsome man didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Brother Zhang, how can there be any taste when you drink it like this? My tea needs to be carefully tasted to be able to appreciate its beauty." These 2 people were Lu Kuan, disguised as Zhang Yang, and Su Zihong. Lu Kuan leaned back and waved his hand. "Forget it. A rough person like me can't drink this kind of thing." He shifted his body into a more comfortable position and said lazily, "I didn't think that the higher-ups would appoint Junior Brother to take on that nuisance of Death's Abyss mission. However, it's fortunate that I have this mission. Can I use the remaining Thunder Talismans in my hands?" I used up all the remaining Thunder Talismans and earned a sum of contribution points. Su Zihong's face turned serious. "Speaking of which, I have to thank Brother Zhang. That group of Qi refinement stage disciples have Thunder Talismans. My mission this time should be much smoother." Lu Kuan was a little curious. "By the way, I just came back from a border of the Eastern Continent. What kind of mission is this?" "It seems to be related to the undead creatures." Su Zihong took a sip of the spirit tea and said, "Death's Abyss. Brother Zhang should know about it." Lu Kuan nodded. The Death's Abyss is in the southwest area of the southern continent. It's an abyss that is thousands of miles long. It's filled with cold, energy. The deepest part is thousands of feet. The further southwest you go, the shallower it gets. It's connected to the Death's Land of Wei. It's said that in the deepest part of the Death's Abyss, there are nascent soul stage undead creatures. It's a forbidden area in the southern continent. But since ancient times, the creatures of the Death's Abyss have never left the abyss. Su Zihong said slowly, "Recently, a mine station in the middle of the Death's Abyss was attacked by the undead creatures. Although there were no losses, it was the first time in tens of thousands of years that the undead creatures left the abyss. In that attack, the strongest undead creature was at the Foundation establishment stage. Because the Death's Abyss is in the territory of our sect, the Deacon Elder attached great importance to it and arranged this mission." At this point, Su Zihong put down the teacup and looked at Lu Kuan. "I don't know if Brother Zhang is interested in this mission. Brother Zhang is proficient in thunder attribute spells and has never failed against the undead creatures." Lu Kuan waved his hand. "I'll pass. After selling this batch of Thunder Palms, my contribution points have reached 5,000 points. I'll have to prepare in the next 2 days. Su Zihong heard this, and his expression became serious. Brother Zhang, you've really decided to go to the Blood Demon Cave? Lu Kuan's eyes shone with desire. That's right. I joined the Blood Refining Sect to cultivate the Blood Demon technique. Otherwise, after entering the Foundation establishment stage for a few years, I wouldn't have not chosen any techniques, causing my magic power to stagnate. Su Zihong already knew of Zhang Yang's determination and didn't stop him. I've already told Brother Zhang about the situation in the Blood Demon Cave. Seeing how confident Brother Zhang is, I wish Brother Zhang success in obtaining the Blood Demon technique. Lu Kuan let out a wanton laugh. Don't worry, this Blood Demon technique is mine, Zhang Yang. After saying this, he threw out a few talismans. He gave them to Su Zihong. These are mid-grade talismans? Keep them, they might be useful. I'll go back to my abode to prepare. Goodbye. Su Zihong didn't argue and took the talismans. Looking at Lu Kuan's departing figure, a strange light flashed in his eyes. If he really obtains the Blood Demon technique, I'll have a strong ally in the secret realm 10 years later. Chapter 662. Lu Kuan walked out of the mission hall and smiled when he sensed the 5,100 contribution points in the token. I didn't expect a mission like the Death's Abyss to suddenly appear. Plus, the Blood Refining Sect recruited a new batch of Qi condensation disciples. The 100 or so Thunder Palms were easily sold. 1 Thunder Palm is worth 10 contribution points. 120 Thunder Palms are worth 1,200 contribution points. The remaining gap is quickly filled. I can finally enter the Blood Demon Cave. For the past 4 years, Lu Kuan almost never went out. Apart from missions, he spent the rest of his time refining talismans in his cave residence. After he started practicing talisman crafting, he realized the difficulty of this skill. Even with his core formation spiritual sense and his proficiency in lightning attribute spells, he could only succeed once in 10 Thunder Palms. How about making talismans? That would consume a lot of magic power. If Lu Kuan didn't use his internal magic power, he could only attempt to make 20 Thunder Palms at a time. After spending a lot of time and energy, his success rate increased greatly after 2 months. Of course, if Lu Kuan spent a lot of spirit stones to purchase talisman crafting materials, it would be faster. However, that would be suspicious. An early Foundation establishment disciple couldn't possibly have so many spirit stones. So the Thunder Palms that Lu Kuan refined, most of them were sold at the Blood Refining Sect's market square for materials. During this time, he only threw a small portion into the Blood Refining Sect's talismans. They were sold in the pavilion. As for the mid-grade lightning attribute talismans he refined, he never sold them. Apart from talisman crafting, Lu Kuan only accepted missions with good contribution points. A few days ago, he completed a mission related to the Yin-Yang Demon Sect. When he returned, he learned about the Death's Abyss mission. He sold more than 100 Thunder Palms and earned enough contribution points. How could he accumulate so many talismans in 4 years? It could only be said that Zhang Yang's talent in talisman crafting was extremely high. In addition, many Foundation establishment disciples knew that Zhang Yang, a cultivator with Thunder Spirit Root, had an astonishing talent in talisman crafting, so it was not surprising that he was proficient in it. The Blood Refining Sect was the most powerful sect in the state of Qi. They had all kinds of lightning-attributed magic. Lu Kuan even saw the shadow of a high-level magic. These could be exchanged for with contribution points. With the Oath Stone, he didn't need to worry about disciples leaking this information. Due to the limitations of his cultivation and contribution points, Lu Kuan only added 3 new middle-level Thunder attribute spells. The Control-type Thundernet spell, the Thunder Arrow, which had a stronger attack power than the Thunder Palm, and the Explosive Thunder spell, which had a wide range of attack. With these talismans, he could easily deal with those in the middle stage of Foundation establishment. As for Su Zihong, he had spent most of his time in closed-door cultivation in the past 4 years. However, when he occasionally came out to carry out missions, he would call Lu Kuan along. Not only because Lu Kuan had helped him in the Ouyang clan city, but also because of Lu Kuan's reeling in and talent in magic. Among all the early-stage Foundation establishment cultivators in the sect, only Lu Kuan could catch Su Zihong's eye. In Su Zihong's opinion, Lu Kuan's straightforward personality was quite compatible with him, so he made a point of befriending him. Under Elder Qian's arrangement, the missions that Su Zihong carried out gave him abundant contribution points. It was difficult for ordinary disciples to obtain them. This allowed Lu Kuan to accumulate contribution points much faster. Only the 4 core formation cultivators knew that Su Zihong cultivated the blood demon arts and had a dark spiritual root. Because it involved the blood-refining sect's great elder, they didn't dare to leak it. As for the surviving Foundation establishment cultivators of the Fang clan, they felt that Su Zihong was related to the core formation cultivators in the sect. They suspected that he was an unnamed disciple of a core formation cultivator. They didn't know that he was actually the disciple of the sect's great elder. During one of the missions, Lu Kuan accidentally discovered Su Zihong's astonishing strength that was close to the late stage of Foundation establishment. After asking, Su Zihong told Lu Kuan that he cultivated the blood demon arts. Lu Kuan let nature take its course and learned more about the blood demon cave from Su Zihong. After leaving the mission hall, Lu Kuan first pretended to stay in his cave for 3 days before flying directly into the depths of the Blood Demon mountain range. The Blood Demon Cave was the most important place in the blood refining sect. It was located in the center of the Blood Demon mountain range. As Lu Kuan went deeper, the ratio of spirit energy and devil energy gradually changed. The devil energy's ratio increased while the spirit energy's ratio decreased, but the density increased. After flying for more than 2 hours with the speed of a Foundation establishment cultivator, Lu Kuan had no choice but to stop. All kinds of complicated restrictions began to appear in the mountain range ahead, making it impossible to pass through. After a while, a square-faced man with a cultivation base at the great circle of Foundation establishment flew over. He glanced at the token on Lu Kuan's waist and coldly said, "This is the cave residence area of the sect's elders. It's not a place you can come." Lu Kuan cupped his hands and said, "Senior Marshal Brother, this Junior Marshal Brother wants to enter the Blood Demon Cave." The square-faced man let out a soft cry of surprise. He carefully sized up Lu Kuan and his eyes revealed disdain. He lightly said, "In that case, let me check the token first." Lu Kuan obediently handed over the sect token. Zhang Yiyang. You really have 5,000 contribution points. Come on my flying boat." Lu Kuan stepped on a flying Dharma artifact and landed on the square-faced man's flying boat. The latter then flew towards the mountain range's restrictions. He had a formation plate in his hand that emitted a black spiritual light that enveloped the flying boat. The restrictions around them were not affected much. As the flying boat went deeper, Lu Kuan felt that the restrictions around them were becoming more and more terrifying. Many of them made him shudder with fear. Moreover, Lu Kuan's physical nerves trembled from time to time, indicating that several nascent soul cultivators were using their divine senses to investigate them. This made him secretly speechless. The speed of a great circle of Foundation establishment cultivator was quite fast. After flying for more than an hour, they arrived in front of a small valley surrounded by 4 mountain peaks. The 4 mountain peaks were shrouded in black fog and densely covered with all kinds of restrictions, making Lu Kuan feel extremely pressured. The outside of the valley in front of them was shrouded in a layer of purple-black light curtain that emitted an unfathomable aura. It felt much more powerful than the restriction formation in the core area. Moreover, after arriving here, the density of the devil chi had reached its peak. The square-faced man controlled the flying boat and landed outside the small valley. He threw a sound transmission talisman into the valley and waited quietly. Lu Kuan came to the deepest part of the blood refining sect. On the surface, He looked around curiously, but in reality, he was very nervous. He tried his best to use his soul concealment divine sense, not daring to relax in the slightest. There might be nascent soul cultivators watching at this time. After half a day, a gap appeared in the black light curtain in front of them. A powerful late core formation cultivator's divine sense probed out from inside, and a voice resounded in the minds of the two. Disciples who want to enter the blood demon cave, come in. Martial nephew, you, wait outside. Yes, Martial Uncle Fawn. As for Lu Kuan, he slowly walked into the black light barrier. Soon, he saw an old man with a head full of white hair sitting on a huge rock. His demonic power was similar to Guhan's. Clearly, he was also a late core formation stage cultivator. Lu Kuan respectfully said, Disciple Zhang Yiyang greets Senior. The old man said indifferently, Take out your sect token. Lu Kuan did as he was told and handed it over. The old man took out a magic tool and swept it over Lu Kuan's token. He then said, Walk straight for 300 feet and you'll reach the entrance to the Blood Demon Cave. The restriction has already been opened. After you enter, you will reach the first level. You can return halfway, but you will also die inside. If you can pass through the first level, the formation will naturally teleport you out. Yes, Senior. Seeing that the old man had closed his eyes, Lu Kuan walked forward. Soon, he arrived outside an incomparably dark cave. The layer of restrictions on the cave had already been opened. Dense demonic chi emanated from within. It was even denser than the Death Sea Demon Cave. Chapter 663. The cave was not deep, only about 10 feet deep. It was surrounded by purple-black rocks that exuded a strong, demonic aura and a faint purple-black halo. It was not as dark as he had imagined. After landing on the ground, Lu Kuan looked around. In front of him was a sealed cave, about 10 feet long and wide. It was surrounded by walls made of purple-black rocks, and the entire cave exuded a dark purple-black light. The most eye-catching were the 4 black pillars in the center. Each pillar was 10 feet in diameter, and the size was exactly the same. The only difference was the thickness of the spiritual light on them. From left to right, the spiritual light on the black pillars became thicker and thicker, and the aura they exuded became more and more astonishing. Lu Kuan could easily sense the aura fluctuations of the early foundation establishment stage from the leftmost pillar. The one on the right was the early core formation stage, and the aura of the 2 pillars on the right was unfathomable. They were most likely above the nascent soul stage. Because he had communicated with Su Zihong before, Lu Kuan was very clear about the role of the 4 pillars. Each pillar corresponded to a different level of the Blood Demon Cave. Lu Kuan was now going to enter the leftmost pillar. Before coming, Lu Kuan had specially dispersed the magic power in his internal organs just in case. This was because the function of the light pillar was to test the magic power in his body. Only when his magic power met the requirements could he enter. Lu Kuan carefully observed the 4 pillars. The ground and the rocks at the top were arranged with complex restrictions. These restrictions were maintaining the 4 pillars of light. The pillars of light are full of demonic power. It seems that they rely on the demonic aura here to operate. Although there is no reaction from the muscles and nerves in my body, there might be more powerful nascent soul stage cultivators secretly observing me. My current physical body may not be able to sense the spiritual sense of someone above the middle nascent soul stage. Lu Kuan walked directly to the black pillar on the left, took a deep breath, and activated all the early foundation establishment stage magic power in his muscles and walked in. At this moment, Lu Kuan felt a special magical fluctuation sweep through his body, producing a repulsive force. However, after encountering the magical fluctuations on his body, the resistance disappeared, allowing Lu Kuan to walk in smoothly. Only then did he feel relieved. The realm of the Bone Treasure stage was poles apart from the traditional cultivators. There was no Jindan in the body, so naturally this light beam would not think that Lu Kuan was a core formation stage cultivator. Inside the light pillar was a flashing array that connected to the surrounding black pillars. At the front of the array, there was a square dent that was exactly the same size as the Blood Refining Factions token. Lu Kuan took out the sect token from his waist and embedded it into the array. Then, he poured his magic power into the token. Soon, the entire array lit up. The Blood Refining sect's defense in the Blood Demon Cave is really cautious. Not to mention the many seals outside. Even the magical energy has to meet the requirements. And this teleportation array can only be activated with the sect's token. The late core formation stage Old Man outside, in addition to deducting my contribution points, also placed a temporary magical power in the token, which is the key to activating the teleportation array. Lu Kuan put away the token and walked into the teleportation array. In a flash of light, he was teleported out. Shaking his head, Lu Kuan appeared in a new place. He walked out of the teleportation array and vaguely felt that he was not teleported too far away. It was very likely that he was just below the cave. In front of me is the guardian demonic beast. About 10 feet in front of the teleportation array, there was a stone door covered with a layer of seal. In front of the stone door, there was a huge demonic snake. This demonic snake was covered with faint black scales and exuded a very rich magical aura. The intensity of the aura was similar to that of an ordinary peak level 2 demonic beast. I thought Su Zihong was joking, but I didn't expect it to really be a demonic beast. I don't know how the Blood Refining sect managed to cultivate demonic beasts. Su Zihong encountered a demonic wolf, but I'm facing a demonic snake. When Lu Kuan learned about the situation in the Blood Demon Cave from Feng Zheng, the other party did not explain it clearly. Instead, it was Su Zihong who told Lu Kuan about the demonic beasts. Back then, Su Zihong relied on his Dark Spirit Root's magical talent to pass this level. If he used his Dark Spirit Root to cast spells, he would not be hindered in this area with dense demonic chi. Some of his spells would even be strengthened. But if it was other Foundation establishment cultivators who did not cultivate demonic arts, their strength would be greatly reduced in this demonic chi area. Adding on the fact that demonic beasts were stronger than demonic beasts of the same level, they would be like fish in water. Just this level alone would be very difficult to pass. Lu Kuan slowly walked forward while muttering something. His hands gradually flashed with 2 electric lights. When Lu Kuan came within 10 feet of the demonic snake, it immediately raised its head and hissed. Immediately after, a black light flashed and rushed over. Lu Kuan threw out the 2 electric lights in his hands. In an instant, they turned into 2 electric nets, covering an area of 50 to 60 feet in front of him. This was the Thunder Net technique that he had just cultivated in the Blood Refining sect. As soon as the Thunder Net technique was thrown out, a huge black snake shadow was enveloped. The demonic snake was trapped by the Thunder Net technique for a moment. Its body twisted as it tried to break free. Lu Kuan's face turned serious. He clasped his hands together, and a magic power in his body surged. The 2 Thundernet techniques fused together, greatly increasing the binding power. But the demonic snake's body also surged with demonic power. Under the corrosion of the demonic power, the Thundernet technique melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. The demonic snake's range of movement increased. Lu Kuan took this opportunity to take out 8 purple talismans. These talismans were aimed at the demonic snake that was about to break free. In an instant, they turned into 8 lightning arrows connected in a line and shot towards the demonic snake's 7 inches. This was an intermediate rank Thunder Attribute spell, Lightning Arrow. As a Thunder Attribute spell, its power was not inferior to ordinary intermediate rank spells. Unfortunately, its power was reduced in the Devil Chi area. Boom! The Thunder Net technique shattered at this moment. The demonic snake regained its mobility and swung its thick snake tail to meet the 8 lightning arrows. Lu Kuan seemed to have expected this. His hands moved, and the 8 lightning arrows seemed to be guided. In an instant, They merged into a dazzling purple lightning arrow. Its power increased sharply, almost approaching the level of an intermediate rank spell. Crackle. The demonic snake's tail was scattered by more than half, and cracks appeared on its black scales. After being injured, the demonic snake was furious. Its body twisted and its speed increased sharply. It was still more than 10 feet away from Lu Kuan. Lu Kuan took out 5 more talismans. He threw them out, and 5 layers of thunder net technique appeared in front of him. Then, he used the same method to make the thunder net technique superimposed. Buzz! This time, the power of the thunder net technique increased greatly, and it tightly wrapped around the furious demonic snake. Lu Kuan did not stop, and took out 16 more lightning arrow talismans. He was sweating profusely, and his divine sense fluctuated violently. It was very difficult for him to cast some kind of spell, and then he shot out the 16 talismans. The 16 lightning arrows merged together, forming an unstable inch-long lightning arrow. For a moment, the dim cave was filled with a purple halo. Accompanied by the sound of thunder, the miniature lightning arrow directly bombarded the demonic snake's 7 inches. Although the demonic snake's defense was not weak, its 7 inches was still a vital point. Moreover, Lu Kuan had combined the 16 lightning arrows into one, increasing the power of his attack. This attack easily broke through the demonic snake's defense. The lightning exploded, and the demonic snake's head fell to the ground with a plop. Lu Kuan exhaled, revealing a relieved expression. He immediately sat cross-legged, took out several spirit stones, and began to recover. Acting is really tiring. I hope there really are blood-refining sect cultivators secretly observing. Otherwise, my efforts will be in vain. Chapter 664. This Rellingan kid is only at the early stage of foundation establishment, but his understanding of lightning-attributed spells has reached such a level. If he has enough magic power, he could even easily cast a mid-level spell like Thunderfall. Outside the Blood Demon Cave, the old man in charge of the small valley looked at the image on the bronze mirror in his hand with amazement. He then picked up a jade slip beside him and used his spiritual sense to explore it. Lines of information appeared one after another. Zhang Yang, a rogue cultivator, the only descendant of a fallen family in the northern barren state of Chu. 5 years ago, he killed his way out of the Blood Mist Valley alone and entered the blood-refining sect. Rellingan, extremely talented in casting spells. He was able to cast the Thunder Palm at the Qi refining stage. After reaching foundation establishment, he focused on the art of talisman crafting. He can craft mid-level lightning-attributed talismans. His overall strength is comparable to mid-level foundation establishment. He is decisive in killing. He seems reckless, but he is actually shrewd. This jade slip introduced Zhang Yang's information in detail. It was unknown when this jade slip came into the hands of this old man. Clearly, the blood-refining sect paid close attention to this disciple, Zhang Yang, and knew that he was going to enter the Blood Demon Cave. He used talismans to cast many lightning-attributed spells to reduce the consumption of his own magic power and spiritual sense. Talismans? He refined them himself, so he can control them more freely. Using his understanding of lightning-attributed spells, he fused them together and finally exploded with power close to the late stage of foundation establishment. The old man sighed. This kid is definitely a genius disciple. No wonder Elder Qian wanted me to pay attention to this kid's situation in the Blood Demon Cave. If Zhang Yang successfully obtains the Blood Demon technique, I have to inform him immediately. The old man shot a ray of spiritual light at the bronze mirror in front of him. The image in the mirror flashed, and the scene behind the stone door was revealed. After the demonic snake died, the restriction on the stone door disappeared. Lu Kuan used the Mega Strength technique and easily pushed the door open. The cave behind the stone door was even narrower. It was only 2 to 3 feet in length and was circular. Different from the outside, The cave floor was covered with all kinds of complicated patterns and jades of various colors. Lu Kuan even recognized a few top refining materials that could be used to refine magic treasures. These patterns and materials turned this narrow cave into a huge spirit array. In the center of the magic array was a black crystal pillar that was 3 feet tall. Extremely pure demonic qi emanated from it. Lu Kuan even felt that it was somewhat similar to the pure demonic qi in the depths of the Sea of Death. Under the influence of such dense demonic qi, his exposed foundation establishment stage mana was suppressed to the extreme. This pillar was inlaid with an incomparably dark, round magic ball. The gloomy luster on its surface was like a black hole, as if it could suck a person's soul into it. The blood magic technique's foundation establishment stage cultivation method is recorded here. You need to inject your transcendence energy to activate it. Lu Kuan stared at the black magic ball with bright eyes and muttered, "I, Zhang Yang, am determined to obtain the blood demon art." After saying that, he firmly pressed his hands on the black magic ball and began to inject his magic power into it. At that moment, the old man outside also stared at Zhang Yang in the bronze mirror with his eyes wide open. I don't know if this kid can withstand this trace of true demonic qi. This thought flashed through the old man's mind. He saw Zhang Yang in the bronze mirror raise his head. His eyes became incomparably red, flashing with brutality and bloodthirstiness, as if he had lost his mind. Then he hugged his head with both hands and let out a mournful roar. He frantically rolled on the ground. Seeing this, the old man's eyes revealed an expression of "I knew it." He sighed and said, "Although it's only a trace of true demonic qi, it's still not something a foundation establishment stage cultivator can withstand. Even if the power of the divine sense has reached the core formation stage, there's still a lot of risk. Only a special constitution can withstand the corrosion of the true demonic qi. After withstanding the corrosion of the divine sense, this true demonic qi, which has been improved by the demon exterminator ray, will spread to the body and blood. Only then can the blood magic technique be smoothly initiated." The old man looked at Zhang Yang, who was rolling in pain, and said regretfully, "It's a pity for this Zhang Yang. With his Relingen and innate talent, if he cultivated Junior Brother Chen's true demonic imperial thunder technique, it would be incomparably smooth. In the future, when he enters the core formation stage, he might even be more powerful than Junior Brother Chen." Looking at Zhang Yang, who was still screaming and rolling in pain in the bronze mirror, the old man stretched out his hand and prepared to withdraw the image. But at that moment, a purple light suddenly appeared on Zhang Yang's body. "Hey, there's a change." The old man immediately noticed Zhang Yang's abnormality. He stopped the spiritual power in his hand and stared at the bronze mirror without blinking. This trace of lightning wandered around Zhang Yang's body. As time passed, more and more lightning emerged from Lu Kuan's body and gradually covered his entire body. The lightning stuck close to his skin like a lightning magic robe. Zhang Yang, who was originally rolling and struggling, gradually calmed down. These lightning bolts came quickly and left quickly. When Zhang Yang stopped struggling, they disappeared. Zhang Yang stood up unsteadily. The red light in his eyes disappeared. His eyes first showed a trace of confusion. Then a look of fear appeared on his face. He took a deep breath and calmed down. Looking at the magic ball in front of him, he once again placed his hand on it. Seeing this scene, the old man's eyes were still a little sluggish. He actually withstood the true demonic intent. This kid just released lightning all over his body. What kind of magic was that? No, when he was eroded by the true demonic intent, he had already lost his consciousness. It was impossible for him to activate magic. The only possibility is that this kid has some kind of special constitution. This constitution is related to the thunder attribute. The lightning that spontaneously spread should be stimulated by his constitution when he stimulated his magic power at a critical moment. The thunder attribute magic itself has a somewhat restraining effect on the demonic aura. I'm afraid this is the reason why the erosion of the true demonic intent was defeated and this kid regained his consciousness. The old man looked at the jade slip next to him and thoughtfully said, "Could it be that Elder Qian had already noticed something and asked me to pay attention to whether this kid could obtain the blood magic technique?" That's right. Zhang Yiyang's understanding of the thunder attribute magic is almost close to that of a core formation cultivator. If he doesn't have a special constitution, it can't be explained. The old man seemed to understand Elder Qian's attention to Zhang Yiyang. He put away the bronze mirror in his hand, then took out a voice transmission talisman, whispered a few words into it, and sent it out with a special method. Inside the cave, Lu Kuan pressed his hands on the black magic ball. His closed eyes trembled slightly, and his brows furrowed. He was receiving the information of the cultivation method from the magic ball. It contained the first 3 layers of the blood magic technique, which corresponded to the early, middle, and late stages of the foundation establishment realm. Lu Kuan's spiritual sense was strong, so he could multitask. He received the information of the cultivation method while silently chewing the top cultivation method of the blood refining sect. After about a quarter of an hour, he slowly opened his eyes. At this moment, the black magic ball had turned gray, and the array under his feet bloomed with a dazzling light. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.